Chapter 1778. Ah! A terrified scream broke the tranquility of the early morning. It reverberated throughout the Bailey family's old residence and alarmed the entire Bailey family. Yunpeng, when the Bailey family's patriarch, Bailey Hichuan, hurriedly rushed over and saw the row of heads outside the gate and the guards who were killed without anyone noticing, his face became incomparably gloomy. "Big brother, this should be done by that brat." The Taoist-robed old man, Bailey Jiang, said with a cold glint in his eyes. "It seems that we have underestimated that person. However, since he dares to provoke my Bailey family, I guarantee that he will die without a burial ground." Bailey Hichuan ordered people to bury Yunpeng and the others' heads as he gnashed his teeth and said, "Big brother, should we ask the Imperial Sky Clan's 6th elder and the others to deal with that brat?" Bailey Jiang asked cautiously. Prepare a generous gift. I will go and pay a visit to the 6th elder in a while." Bailey Hichuan nodded and said, just as the Bailey family asked the Imperial Sky Clan's 6th elder to deal with Yi Chanfeng, who had killed Yunpeng and the others, returned to the tavern. He summoned the Qipao girl out of the universe realm and woke her up. "Young master Yi," the Qipao girl slowly opened her eyes. When she saw Yi Chanfeng in front of her, her eyes widened and revealed an expression as if she had seen a ghost. "Are you very shocked that I didn't die?" Seeing the Qipao girl's shocked expression, Yi Chanfeng revealed a faint smile and said, "It seems that they have underestimated young master. Since young master dared to give the Bailey family on credit, you must have absolute strength." The Qipao girl took a deep breath and suppressed the shock in her heart. She said with a complicated tone, "However, since young master already knew that the Bailey family would give the money on credit, why didn't you immediately ask for it? Wouldn't it be too rushed to go now?" Yi Chanfeng smiled faintly. He poured himself a cup of spiritual tea and said, "I will wait for the Bailey family to mobilize their troops and ask for the help of all the experts. Then I will defeat them in one fell swoop. Only then will they repent in hell." Demon. Looking at the smiling Yi Chanfeng drinking tea by himself, the woman in the Cheongsam felt her heart tremble. "You have a good heart, so you can stay with me for the next few days. Wait until I destroy the Bailey family. Then no one will come looking for trouble with you." Yi Chanfeng looked at the Cheongsam woman. Her eyes flickered as he spoke. "Young master, can you follow young master from now on?" The woman in the Cheongsam suddenly knelt on the ground and begged. "No." Although the woman in the Cheongsam was lovely, Yi Chanfeng was firm and unmoved. He shook his head and refused without hesitation. Days passed. Perhaps because they felt Yi Chanfeng's terror, the Bailey family no longer sent anyone to provoke him. However, under Bailey Hichuan's kind invitation, the people from the Heavenly Imperial Clan stayed in the Bailey family. Because he was afraid that the Heavenly Imperial Clan would be disgusted, Bailey Hichuan did not tell them the truth. However, with the 6th elder and 7th elder of the Heavenly Imperial Clan overseeing things, Bailey Hichuan calmed down and started his revenge plan. "Yunxiu, why are you frowning? Who bullied you?" A one-star Dao God Realm man in a dark golden robe with a tall and straight figure slowly arrived outside a pergola. He looked at Bailey Yunxiu, who held her chin with one hand and seemed to be lost in thought, and a trace of burning desire appeared in his eyes as he spoke. "Sigh, it's nothing." Bailey Yunxiu sighed softly and acted very well. "Yunxiu, if there's anything, just tell me. As long as I can help you, I won't make excuses." Looking at Bailey Yunxiu's charming face, graceful body, and slender legs, the man in the dark golden robe felt a fire in his heart. He was planning to coax her into bed. "All right, since Brother Chanfeng wants to hear it, I'll tell you." Bailey Yunxiu revealed a charming expression as she narrated, adding oil and vinegar to the story. She described Yi Chanfeng as a villain who bullied the Bailey family. "So it's such a small matter." Huang Changfeng revealed a trace of arrogance and said, "Let's go. I'll accompany you to deal with this little trouble. I want to see who that person is to dare bully your Bailey family and bully you. Really, Brother Changfeng is willing to help me." Bailey Yunxiu was overjoyed when she saw that the fish had taken the bait. "Let's go." When I capture that person, I'll make him kneel down and apologize to you," Huang Changfeng said domineeringly. "Thank you, Brother Changfeng," Bailey Yunxiu said affectionately. She threw herself into Huang Changfeng's embrace, stood on her tiptoes, and kissed his cheek. She said, "You're so nice." Feeling the numbness on his cheek, a raging flame immediately ignited in Huang Changfeng's heart. He directly kissed Bailey Yunxiu's soft little mouth. "You hate Brother Changfeng." Bailey Yunxiu gently pushed Huang Changfeng away and said, "After you take revenge for my Bailey family, I'll accompany you tonight." "Okay, it's a deal." Huang Changfeng laughed loudly and said, "Let's go." Bailey Yunxiu knew that Yi Chunfeng wasn't easy to deal with, so she used her beauty to make Huang Changfeng invite a 3-star celestial god protector to follow them to the inn where Yi Chunfeng was staying. She was prepared to capture Yi Chunfeng. Just as they arrived outside the inn, Bailey Yunxiu saw a tall figure standing outside the inn from afar. Her expression changed slightly, and she felt a trace of inexplicable uneasiness in her heart. Because Yi Chunfeng had cultivated the illusory Tao insight to the sacred diagram. Under the influence of the sacred diagram of illusions, Huang Changfeng and the 3-star celestial god protector didn't recognize him. "Are you here today to deliver the remaining teleportation stones?" Yi Chunfeng looked at Bailey Yunxiu, whose expression changed slightly. She was tightly hugging Huang Changfeng's arm, seeking a trace of comfort, and said coldly, "Kid, you're about to die, yet you're still so arrogant. If you know what's good for you, obediently kneel and beg for mercy. Maybe if I'm in a good mood, I'll leave your corpse intact." Huang Changfeng looked at Yi Chunfeng with cold disdain. He didn't put him in his eyes at all. "With just you?" Yi Chunfeng's figure flashed, and he appeared in front of Huang Changfeng like a ghost. "Changfeng, be careful." The 3-star celestial god protector's pupils shrank. He stood in front of Huang Changfeng without hesitation, wanting to force Yi Chunfeng back. However, Yi Chunfeng was too fast. Time flowed 10 times faster, and before the 3-star celestial god protector could block him, he raised his hand and ruthlessly slapped Huang Changfeng's cheek. Slap! A crisp sound of a slap was heard. Huang Changfeng, who couldn't dodge in time, was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's slap. Like a kite with a broken string, he fell from the sky and fiercely crashed to the ground. A large amount of blood and broken teeth flowed out of his mouth. "Mother of ***, how dare you hit me?" Huang Changfeng held his sunken cheek and roared like an angry lion. But just as his voice fell, his pupils dilated infinitely. He was horrified to find that a red light had shot out from Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul. The red light split the 3-star celestial god protector's body in half, killing him on the spot. "Saint-level sword soul, you! Who the hell are you?" Looking at the corpse lying in a pool of blood, a terrifying figure suddenly appeared in Huang Changfeng's mind. The arrogance he had just now disappeared, and he said in horror, "Haven't you already guessed who I am?" Yi Chunfeng faintly smiled and controlled the saint-level sword soul to slash at him. "No!" Chapter 1779. Don't come over. Seeing Yi Chunfeng walking over step by step, Bailey Yunxiu was so scared that all the hairs on her body stood on end. Even her voice was trembling. "Scared?" Yi Chunfeng smiled slightly and said, "This is just the beginning. If your Bailey family wants to renege on your debt, I can only use your lives to pay for it." No, we have no intention of reneging on our debt." Bailey Yunxiu did not expect Yi Chunfeng to be so terrifying that he actually dared to kill someone from the Imperial Sky Clan. She was scared out of her wits and begged, "Young Master Yi, can you bear with me for a few more days? I promise to gather the remaining transfer stones for you. No need to go through so much trouble. I'll go to your Bailey family to get them today. If you don't have them, then pay with your life." Yi Chunfeng replied domineeringly. He summoned the half-transcendent saint artifact, the white dragon rope, and bound the pale Bailey Yunxiu. He then brought the trembling Bailey Yunxiu to the Bailey family. As Bailey Yunxiu was very famous in Purple Star City, when Yi Chunfeng took her to the Bailey family, it alarmed the entire Purple Star City and attracted a large number of experts to watch on the streets. Second grandpa, look, it's him. The colorful dress girl who was saved by Yi Chanfeng in the star. Saw Yi Chanfeng through the gaps in the crowd and grabbed the arm of the old man beside her. Fei don't speak nonsense. We should just watch from the sidelines and not get involved. Otherwise, it will bring disaster to my Yun family. Yun Changhe cautiously warned through sound transmission. Who is this person? Why does he even dare to shake a colossus like the Bailey family? Looking at Yi Qinfeng's proud back, Yun Changhe muttered to himself. Could he be from the Void God realm? How dare you? You dare to hold Miss Bailey hostage? I think you're tired of living. Suddenly, a thunderous voice rang out in the noisy street. The voice was so loud that it shook the eardrums of many people. Some people who were not strong enough bled from their 7 orifices. Brother Flying Fox, save me. When Bailey Yunxio saw a man wearing a white robe with cloud patterns, with a totem tattooed on his left cheek, and holding a sharp sword descending from the sky, she was scared out of her wits. Stop shouting. No one can save you. Yi Qinfeng said coldly as he lifted his head slightly and looked at the white-robed man who was holding a sharp long sword and tearing through the air. Seeing that the white-robed man's long sword was about to pierce Yi Qinfeng's throat, Yi Qinfeng pointed out with his finger. He crushed space and tapped the tip of the long sword. Buzz! An ear-piercing sword chime rang out. Yi Qinfeng's fingertip shot out more than 200 billion kilograms of power, pouring into the longsword, directly crushing the sword spirit and shattering the low-grade heaven-reaching saint sword. What? The white-robed man didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to be so powerful that he could shatter the low-grade heaven-reaching saint sword with a single finger. All the hair on his body stood on end, and he retreated without hesitation. But the moment he dodged, Yi Qinfeng struck out with his palm across space, crushing the space as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. The palm landed on the white-robed man's body and sent him flying. Boom! The white-robed man couldn't withstand the power of Yi Qinfeng's palm. His entire body exploded in midair, turning into a cloud of blood mist, and he died on the spot. Demon! Seeing Yi Qinfeng shatter the white-robed man with a single palm, Bailey Yunxio was so scared that her legs trembled. She couldn't even stand straight. Young Master Yi, I beg you to spare me. As long as you spare me, I'm willing to agree to any of your conditions. I'm willing to serve you as a slave. Bailey Yunxio was scared out of her wits. Her teeth chattered as she spoke with a trembling voice. You're not worthy. Although Bailey Yunxio was very beautiful, Yi Qinfeng wasn't a person who would have tender feelings for the fairer sex. Moreover, Bailey Yunxio's heart was malicious, so Yi Qinfeng didn't have any intention of letting her go. What? Young Master Changfeng, Protector Huang is dead, Yunxio was captured, and that person is walking towards my Bailey family. Hearing this news, Bailey Huchuan's heart trembled. He didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to be so valiant. Not only did he kill someone from the Imperial Sky clan in front of everyone, he even dared to kidnap Bailey Yunxio and bring her to the Bailey family. Pass down my order. Inform all the experts of the Bailey family to prepare for battle. Bailey Huchuan loudly ordered. Then, he quickly went to the courtyard where the 6th elder and the others were staying and told them the news. Changfeng is dead. Huang Wuqian was killed, and Huang Changfeng became the focus of the Imperial Sky clan. Now that Huang Changfeng was dead, the 6th elder, 7th elder, and the others were furious. Daring to kill a genius of my Imperial Sky clan, I'll make him die without a burial ground. The 7th elder crushed the teacup in his hand. Together with the gloomy 6th elder and the other experts of the Imperial Sky clan, they headed towards the front courtyard of the Bailey family to capture Yi Qinfeng. Bang! Just as the group of people from the Imperial Sky clan arrived at the front courtyard, the tightly shut door was knocked open by a powerful force. Yi Qinfeng, who was wearing a white robe, slowly walked in with the pale and trembling Bailey Yunxio. It's you, Yi Qinfeng. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's familiar face, the 6th elder and 7th elder of the Heavenly Imperial clan revealed surprised expressions. They never would have thought that the person who killed Huang Changfeng was actually the Yi Qinfeng that they were painstakingly searching for. Yi Qinfeng, I've discovered that your guts are not ordinary. You knew that we were here, yet you still dared to kill a member of my Imperial Sky Clan. When I captures you, I guarantee that I'll let you taste all the pain in the world before letting you die." The seventh elder's deep eyes emitted a dense, evil aura as he spoke with killing intent. "Today is different from the past. Since I dare to come here, it means that I don't place you in my eyes." Yi Feng smiled faintly. 3 low-grade ancestor artifact, level ancient array flags floated out of his body. Under the control of his mind, a large number of array patterns swayed, directly sealing off the Bailey family's old residence. Ancestral artifact, 3 ancestral artifact array flags. Seeing Yi Feng floating in the air and swaying the 3 ancestral artifact array flags, the 6th Elder and 7th Elder of the Imperial Sky clan widened their eyes. They couldn't believe that Yi Feng had actually obtained 3 ancestral artifact array flags after not seeing him for several years. 6th Elder, 7th Elder, you know him. Bailey Hechuan originally thought that with the support of the Imperial Sky Clan, it would be useless even if Yi Feng had 3 heads and 6 arms. However, the scene in front of him had shattered all of his illusions. He never imagined that Yi Feng would actually ignore the Imperial Sky Clan and even summon the ancestral artifact array flags to seal off the Bailey family. He was clearly trying to catch them all in one fell swoop. Yi Feng, could he be the previous 100 Battles Martial Competitions champion, Yi Feng? Hearing Yi Feng's familiar name, an extremely senior elder of the Bailey family suddenly recalled who Yi Feng was, and his expression changed greatly. For a moment, the entire Bailey family was filled with gasps as they looked at Yi Feng with fear in their eyes. "All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's attack together." Seeing the change in expression of Bailey Hechuan and the others, Yi Feng said in an incomparably overbearing manner, Good. Junior, I want to see how much you've grown in these few years to actually dare to challenge I." The 6th Elder of the Imperial Sky Clan's pupils shrank as the half-ancestor chi erupted from his aged body. It transformed into a towering mountain that pressed down on Yi Feng. "Half-ancestor? I can now kill half-ancestors like I'm killing chickens." Although Yi Feng was chased by the 6th Elder back then, Yi Feng had cultivated to the peak of the 5-star Dao God realm and possessed a large number of ancestral artifacts. He no longer placed the 6th Elder of the Imperial Sky Clan in his eyes and spoke as if he was looking down on the world. Chapter 1780 / 6th Elder Huang didn't expect that Yi Feng's aura would surpass his in just a few years. He immediately summoned his supreme-grade Transcendent Saint weapon and slashed at Yi Feng. It stirred up a powerful Dao will and slashed at Yi Feng with an aura as heavy as Mount Tai. Buzz! 6th Elder Huang's halberd collided with the demon-sealing sword in Yi Feng's hand. Dazzling sparks surged in the air. How is this possible? How can he be so powerful? After a head-on collision, 6th Elder Huang was shocked to feel a power beyond his imagination pass through the long spear and into his arms, shaking his arms to the point that a trace of numbness appeared on his arms. Swish! After this attack, Yi Feng attacked with all his strength. He stomped on the hard ground and slashed at 6th Elder Huang with boundless sword will. Godless sword. With a slash of the sword, for sacred Dao diagrams appeared on his body. The terrifying sword light merged with the power of the 4 sacred Dao diagrams and directly swallowed all the light, leaving a deep sword mark in the air. The sword pierced towards 6th Elder Huang's body, forcing him to defend with all his strength. Ka. Huang's 6th Elder unleashed his full strength. When he held his halberd to block, the invincible, godless sword slashed the halberd apart. The terrifying sword might penetrated Huang's 6th Elder's defense and entered his body, directly piercing through his body. A large amount of blood spurted out from his body. What? 6th Elder is injured. Witnessing the scene of Yi Feng injuring 6th Elder Huang with lightning speed, everyone present was stunned. 6th Elder Huang, was a half-martial ancestor. It could be said that he could do anything in the alien battlefield. However, such a powerful existence was easily injured by Yi Chen-feng. This made them realize how terrifying Yi Chen-feng was. How is this possible? It has only been a few years, but he has grown to such a level. Even 6th Elder was injured by him. 7th Elder Huang was most familiar with Yi Chen-feng. He had witnessed the scene of Yi Chen-feng winning the 100 battles competition. At that time, Yi Chen-feng was still very weak. He could crush Yi Chen-feng to death with one hand. However, in just a few years, Yi Chen-feng had grown to such a level that he couldn't help but look up to. This made him feel shocked and a little uneasy. Celestial Demon Tyrant Body. After experiencing Yi Chen-feng's strength, 6th Elder Huang immediately burned his powerful blood qi and blood to increase his physical strength. He transformed into the strongest Celestial Demon Tyrant Body, greatly increasing his combat strength. In the next moment, 6th Elder Huang unleashed a shocking power. Wielding his long spear, he once again engaged in a fierce battle with Yi Chen-feng. After transforming into the Celestial Demon Tyrant Body, 6th Elder Huang's physical body and combat strength soared rapidly. However, compared to Yi Chen-feng, who was burning his primordial blood, there was still a big gap. The two of them fought fiercely in the air for half an incense stick's time. 6th Elder Huang's attacks were gradually suppressed by Yi Chen-feng. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Xian Tian Divine Cannon, Blood Curse Technique. 6th Elder Huang was faintly unable to resist Yi Chen-feng's ferocious attacks. He immediately used the Imperial clan's inherited divine ability and spat out mouthfuls of blood essence. They formed a blood curse and broke into Yi Chen-feng's body. Explode. The moment a large amount of blood curse broke into Yi Chen-feng's body, 6th Elder Huang used a secret technique. He wanted to detonate the blood curse and deal a fatal blow to Yi Chen-feng's body. How can this be? When he detonated the blood curse, he unexpectedly discovered that he had lost connection with the blood curse formed by his blood essence. He couldn't detonate the blood curse at all. Sai, your methods are too weak. You want to hurt me with this level of attack? Yi Chen-feng sighed softly. His body flashed, and he continued to approach 6th Elder Huang, launching a ferocious attack at him. I don't believe that you can restrain the blood curse technique. The blood curse technique was a divine ability of the Imperial clan. It was extremely powerful, and ordinary people couldn't restrain it all. 6th Elder Huang, who didn't believe it, continued to spit out blood essence as he defended against Yi Chen-feng's ferocious attacks. They turned into blood curse techniques and attacked Yi Chen-feng. However, Yi Chen-feng had the chaos divine wood in his body. Before the blood curse techniques that broke into Yi Chen-feng's body could self-detonate, they were devoured by the chaos divine wood. No, how is this possible? 6th Elder Huang's heart turned cold when he couldn't detonate the blood curse techniques after trying several times. Just as he was in shock, the Saint Sword's soul fused with the demon sealing sword and turned into a demonic crescent moon in midair. The sword split the chaotic void into two, and with an invincible sword might, it slashed towards 6th Elder Huang, who couldn't dodge in time. Crack! A crisp cracking sound rang out. 6th Elder Huang's dagger axe couldn't withstand Yi Chen-feng's sword attack and broke from the middle. The terrifying sword might poured down like a waterfall and ruthlessly smashed into 6th Elder Huang's body. It broke through his body's defense and slashed him to the ground from midair. 6th Elder, 7th Elder Huang, and the others cried out in alarm when they saw 6th Elder smashing a huge hole in the ground. What are you all standing there for? Attack with me and kill the enemy. 6th Elder Huang, who was a half-martial ancestor, was no match for Yi Chen-feng. 7th Elder Huang didn't hesitate and immediately led the Imperial clan experts to attack Yi Chen-feng. Family head, should we attack? Seeing more than 10 Imperial clan experts attacking Yi Chen-feng, the Bailey family experts transmitted their voice to Bailey Huchuan, who was pale and extremely unsettled. Sai, we have no way out. Bailey Huchuan sighed softly as if he had aged several decades and said helplessly, never in his dreams would he have thought that the Bailey family would walk on a path of no return because of 100 Saint True Spirit pills. If he had known that Yi Chunfeng was so powerful, he definitely wouldn't have let Bailey Yunxiu provoke Yi Chunfeng. However, it was too late to regret. They were tied to the imperial clan and were bound together for good or ill. Helplessly, he could only bring the Bailey family experts to besiege Yi Chunfeng. Activate the ancestral formation. When the Bailey family joined the battle and ferociously attacked Yi Chunfeng, Bailey Huchuan came to the Bailey family ancestral land and used his life essence blood to activate the power of the ancestral vein, forming an extremely powerful ancestral formation. The ancestral formation was the Bailey family's greatest trump card and also their greatest reliance. The reason why the Bailey family became the #1 family in Purple Star City was because of the ancestral formation. Primitive Tao embryo, break the ancestral formation. Sensing the ancestral formation's aura, Yi Chunfeng, who was fighting the imperial clan and Bailey family experts alone, summoned the primitive Tao embryo and ordered it to quickly form the ancestral formation that contained a powerful ancestral might and floated in the air. This aura, the instant the primitive Tao embryo appeared, the 6th Elder Huang and the others who were fighting fiercely revealed expressions of fear. They felt that Yi Chunfeng's primitive Tao embryo should have broken through to the ancestor realm. Ancestral formation, exterminate heaven and earth. Bailey Huchuan floated in the air and spat out mouthfuls of blood essence into the slowly rotating ancestral formation without hesitation, activating its power. As the ancestral formation was activated, ancestral runes as thick as buckets broke out of the ancestral formation, carrying with them the power of extermination as they attacked the primitive Tao embryo. Dragon Head Ancestral Bow break. As a large number of ancestral runes attacked, the primitive Tao embryo summoned a 3-meter-long dragon head ancestral bow embedded with a dragon head and engraved with profound runes. It quickly pulled the bowstring and shot out terrifying ancestral arrows, shattering the ancestral runes. Mid-grade ancestral artifact. What kind of fortuitous encounter did this boy have? How could he have a mid-grade ancestral artifact? Chapter 1781. Why are you scared? This is just the beginning. The best part is yet to come. Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly as he put away the demon-sealing sword and activated all the power in his body. He used his flesh and blood to crush the destructive attacks coming at him as he charged into the crowd. He wanted to use the blood of the Heavenly Imperial family and Bailey family's experts to temper himself and neutralize the medicinal power in his body. Break for me! Yi Chunfeng roared as his strength that exceeded 600 billion gene erupted. He smashed 3 top-grade True Spirit Saint artifacts into pieces with a single punch and bombarded the 2 Bailey family's experts in front of him. Although the Bailey family could do whatever they wanted in Purple Star City, they were still far too weak when facing a true expert. Bang! Bang! The 2 Bailey family's experts didn't even have time to cry out before their bodies were blown apart by Yi Chunfeng's fist, turning into a bloody mist. Die for me! In the midst of the chaos, 7th Elder Huang spat out a dark golden talisman and poured a large amount of his blood essence into it. He activated the talisman and transformed it into a dark golden sword of light that slashed towards Yi Chunfeng at a speed several times faster than the speed of light. Seeing the dark golden sword of light slashing towards Yi Chunfeng's head, Yi Chunfeng, who was fighting fiercely, immediately turned around and gathered his surging strength and Tao intent in his right fist. He punched out, shattering space as the terrifying fist light directly shattered the dark golden sword of light. How is this possible? Yi Chunfeng's battle prowess had completely exceeded 7th Elder Huang's imagination. He couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng was able to shatter the dark gold talisman attack that was comparable to a supreme-grade Transcendent Saint artifact with just his bare fists. While 7th Elder Huang was in shock, Yi Chunfeng endured the earth-shattering attacks and turned into an afterimage in midair. He brought along a mountain-like pressure as he appeared in front of 7th Elder Huang, whose expression changed drastically as he desperately tried to dodge. When Yi Chunfeng got close to him, 7th Elder Huang, whose hair was standing on end, used all of his strength to attack. However, Yi Chunfeng's body was filled with 600 billion pounds of strength. With his powerful physical strength, he shattered 7th Elder Huang's attack. He punched through 7th Elder Huang's chest like a hot knife through butter and grabbed the source of his power, the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, explode. The moment the Holy Spirit was grabbed by Yi Chunfeng, 7th Elder Huang, who knew that there was no way out, exploded his Holy Spirit. He used his life to launch a final attack on Yi Chunfeng. 7th Elder Huang was a 5-star Tao god. The power of his self-detonation was extremely terrifying. A huge hole was blasted open in the void. Many of the Bailey family's experts who couldn't dodge in time were crushed by this destructive power and died. Family head, do you think the brat is dead? Looking at the destructive storm that was getting more and more intense, the Bailey family's experts, who were hiding in the distance, gulped and asked, with such a terrifying attack, even if he didn't die, I'm afraid he would be half dead. Bailey Hichuan took a deep breath and said, just when everyone thought that Yi Chunfeng had been killed by 7th Elder Huang's self-detonation, an arrogant figure walked out from the center of the destruction and appeared in front of everyone. How is this possible? How can he be unharmed? Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was wearing an ancient armor and looking calm, everyone was shocked. Ancestral armor. He is wearing an ancestral armor. 6th Elder Huang, who was in the crowd, looked at Yi Chunfeng's armor that was flowing with mysterious tool inscriptions. He looked as if he had seen a ghost and lost his composure as he exclaimed, ancestral armor. In the eyes of the Bailey family, an ancestral armor was no different from a divine item. Ancestral armor was even more legendary. It could be said that with the ancestral armor, Yi Chunfeng was already invincible. Even if everyone gathered their strength, they still wouldn't be able to kill him. Young Master Yi, so it's all my Bailey family's fault. As long as you are willing to be magnanimous and spare my Bailey family, I am willing to give you my Bailey family's thousands of years of collection. Looking at Yi Chunfeng, who was wearing an ancestral armor and looking extraordinary, Bailey Hichuan's psychological defense had completely collapsed. He had no choice but to lower his noble head and plead with a pleading tone. If I kill you, your Bailey family's collection will still be mine. Yi Chunfeng said coldly. There was no trace of emotion on his arrogant face. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng didn't want to let the Bailey family off, Bailey Hichuan panicked. Crack! Just when the Bailey family was shrouded in a haze, a thunderous shattering sound rang out. The primitive Tao fetus held the dragon head ancestral bow and shot through the Bailey family's greatest reliance, the ancestral array. The powerful energy fluctuation caused the entire void to tremble violently, as if the end of the world had arrived. After shooting through the ancestral array, the primitive Tao fetus flashed and entered the depths of the ancestral land. It opened all the acupuncture points in its body and crazily devoured the ancestral veins in the ancestral land to increase its strength. Little Yi, don't be arrogant. You will definitely die if you go against my Imperial Sky Clan. 6th Elder Huang took a precious elixir and stabilized his injuries. He glared at Yi Chunfeng and said, It's fine. I will wait for your Imperial Sky Clan to take revenge. Yi Chunfeng said fearlessly. His body flashed slightly and left a dazzling afterimage in the air. He suddenly appeared in front of 6th Elder Huang and punched him. What are you all standing there for? Fight it out with him. 6th Elder Huang burned his holy spirit and erupted with the power of a half-martial ancestor to block Yi Chunfeng's punch. He suppressed the surging blood in his body and roared loudly. Is there any use in fighting with your lives on the line? Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly as he erupted with 600 billion kilograms of strength. He used his body to crush the experts of the two major powers. Miserable shrieks rang out one after another. Regardless of whether it was the experts of the Imperial Sky Clan or the Bailey family, They were all crushed into minced meat by Yi Chunfeng's terrifying body. They turned into clouds of blood mist and died on the spot. In an instant, the entire Bailey family was covered in blood. Blood and severed limbs were scattered all over the ground. It was like a purgatory on earth. How can this be? This can't be real. Bailey Yunxiu, who was hiding in the distance and trembling, fell into despair and regret when she saw the scene in front of her. She didn't expect that her scheme would bring disaster to the Bailey family. Father, just as Bailey Yunxiu's body trembled more and more violently and her mind was about to collapse, she saw Bailey Huchuan being punched by Yi Chenfeng. His entire body was sent flying and crashed into the restriction formed by the 3 ancestral formation flags. He turned into a cloud of blood mist and knelt on the ground. Yi Chenfeng, you murderer! Even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off. Bailey Yunxiu's mind completely collapsed. She let out a miserable shriek and chose to self-detonate in regret and despair, ending her own life. However, Bailey Yunxiu's death didn't cause the slightest ripple. Yi Chenfeng was like an invincible god of war, crazily slaughtering and reaping the lives of the experts of the Imperial Sky Clan and the Bailey family. Seeing nearly 1,000 experts from the Bailey family and the Heavenly Imperial Clan being killed by Yi Chenfeng, the 6th Elder coughed up a mouthful of blood. Yet, in his despair, the 6th Elder managed to take the most difficult step, crossing the half-martial ancestor realm and breaking through to the Heavenly Ancestor realm. Chapter 1782. He broke through. Sensing that 6th Elder Huang's aura had undergone an earth-shattering change in an instant, reaching the Ancestor realm, Yi Chenfeng revealed a look of surprise. He was surprised that at the moment of life and death, he actually broke through. Yi Chenfeng, I really should thank you properly. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to step into the Ancestor realm in such a short time. The instant he broke through to the Ancestor realm, 6th Elder Huang felt that his combat strength had increased by dozens of times. The heavy injuries in his body were also suppressed, revealing a sinister expression. Why? Do you think that breaking through to the Ancestor realm can reverse the situation? Yi Chenfeng sneered and said, Even now, you're still so naive. Yi Chenfeng, you don't know how terrifying my Imperial Sky Clan is. After breaking through to the Ancestor realm, my Imperial Sky Clan is invincible in the entire world. Today, I'll let you experience my Imperial Sky Clan's supreme divine ability. As he spoke, 6th Elder Huang ignited his powerful qi and blood and displayed the Imperial Sky Clan's supreme divine ability. Undefeatable Imperial Sky Technique. An Emperor's aura erupted from 6th Elder Huang's body. At this moment, he was like an emperor from ancient times. His every move carried a terrifying emperor's might. His combat strength had also reached the level of a 2-star Dao Ancestor when he used the invincible Heavenly Imperial Technique. 2-star Dao Ancestor, the Imperial Sky Clan is indeed worthy of being the overlord of the Void God realm. Their foundation is indeed terrifying. Sensing the aura emitted by 6th Elder Huang, Yi Chenfeng did not panic. Although 6th Elder Huang's combat strength had increased by 100 times, it was still not difficult for Yi Chenfeng to kill him. However, Yi Chenfeng did not rely on external forces. With a thought, he summoned the Demon Sealing Sword, preparing to kill him with his own strength. Imperial Sky Seal. After his strength soared to the peak, 6th Elder Huang's hands moved quickly, mobilizing the power of the heavens and the space, and crazily fusing into his hands, turning into a palm-sized dark golden square seal. Although the square seal was small, the god-devouring brain, which was rapidly deducing, felt a destructive power from the square seal, as if this attack was enough to flatten a mountain range. Die. After condensing the royal heavenly seal, the 6th Elder pushed out with both palms. The terrifying royal heavenly seal distorted the space around it, and like a meteor with a long tail, it slammed towards Yi Chenfeng. Godless Sword. The royal heaven seal attacked. Yi Chenfeng pushed the 4 saint-level Dao diagrams to their limits. His entire body fused with the demon sealing sword. a sword that stole the brilliance of heaven and earth, a sword that shook the heavens and the earth, pierced the palm-sized royal heaven seal with unparalleled power. Ka. When the two terrifying forces collided, they immediately released a destructive force in the void, shattering the space within a radius of several kilometers. However, since the 100 Lane family was sealed by the 3 ancestral array flags, the outside world was not affected, but the entire 100 Lane family was razed to the ground. From then on, the 100 Lane family no longer existed in Purple Star City. Boom! After the two attacks collided for a few breaths of time, the royal heavenly seal exploded. The terrifying explosive force slammed into Yi Chenfeng's body and sent him flying. However, Yi Chenfeng was wearing the ancestral armor, so his defensive power was extremely terrifying. The royal heavenly seal's explosion only slightly wounded him. Satisfying again, although Yi Chenfeng had been forced back by the royal heavenly seal condensed by the sixth elder, Yi Chenfeng felt that his body's resistance to this attack had greatly decreased. With this discovery, Yi Chenfeng was overjoyed. He didn't summon his other ancestral artifacts, and instead continued to attack with a demon sealing sword. Using speed against speed, strength against strength, they engaged in a fierce battle in the void. Chop! When Yi Chenfeng relied on his absolute defense to withstand 6th Elder Huang's fatal attack, the Saint Greatsword Spirit descended from the sky under his control and slashed at 6th Elder Huang's body, forcibly breaking through his body's defenses and leaving a deep sword wound on his chest. However, in the next moment, this deep sword wound was quickly healed by a mysterious power from 6th Elder Huang's body. This supreme divine ability of the Heavenly Imperial Clan is truly terrifying. After experiencing the restorative power of the Royal Heavenly Invincible Art, Yi Chenfeng continued to attack. He sped up the flow of time to 10 times faster and continuously attacked Huang Wutian's body with shocking attacks. Damn, how can he have an ancestral artifact? After fighting intensely for more than 2 hours, 6th Elder Huang did not fall into a disadvantageous position by relying on the power of the Royal Heavenly Invincible Art. However, his continuous attacks were completely blocked by Yi Chenfeng's ancestral armor. This made him gnash his teeth in hatred, and the thought of retreating appeared in his heart. Without an ancestral artifact, even if he used the Royal Heavenly Invincible Art, it would be very difficult for him to kill Yi Chenfeng. Rather than being entangled like this, he might as well leave this place first and find a chance to kill Yi Chenfeng in the future. Heavenly Punishment. Taking on Yi Chenfeng's invincible head-on, Huang Wutian leapt high into the air and raised his battle prowess to the limit. He transformed into a heavenly punishment that could destroy heaven and earth. The boundless power of heavenly punishment was like 10,000 zhong long violent thunderbolts as it bombarded down. It ferociously attacked Yi Chenfeng, annihilating him within the heavenly punishment. Limitless primal chaos. Withstanding the destructive attack of heavenly punishment, a towering and tall phantom of the Chaos Divine Tree appeared behind Yi Chenfeng. The Chaos 5 Elements light swayed and increased Yi Chenfeng's battle prowess. With a slash of his sword, the phantom of the Chaos Divine Tree transformed into the boundless Great Tao and directly tore apart the surging heavenly punishment, protecting Yi Chenfeng's body. As the two supreme divine abilities fiercely clashed, 6th Elder Huang seized this opportunity and quickly flew to the edge of the Bailey clan. He attacked the restriction formed by the 3 great ancestral array flags with all his strength, wanting to tear apart the restriction and escape. Just as he was attacking the restriction with all his strength, his keen perception suddenly sensed danger and dodged to the side without hesitation. The moment he dodged, the space he was in was pierced by an ancestral arrow, revealing a bottomless black hole. Primitive Tao Fetus. 6th Elder Huang couldn't help but reveal a solemn expression as he looked at the primitive Tao fetus that had devoured the Bailey clan's ancestral vein and reached the peak of the 2-star Tao ancestor realm. Yi Chenfeng alone was enough to give him a headache. If the primitive Tao fetus was added, he had no chance of winning at all. Sixth Elder Huang, aren't you very brave? Why did you run away? Is everyone in your heavenly imperial clan so cowardly? Yi Chenfeng looked at Sixth Elder Huang, who had a serious expression, and said with a mocking expression, Yi Chenfeng, don't be arrogant. If I want to leave, you can't stop me. Sixth Elder Huang said with a gloomy face. He was ready to break out of here at all costs. Is that so? Yi Chenfeng smiled slightly and summoned Long Xiaotian and the fiend god Torch Dragon, asking them to seal the space. What? Sixth Elder Huang's expression changed when he saw Long Xiaotian and the fiend god Torch Dragon die. Especially when he saw Long Xiaotian, he felt a deep sense of fear. Don't worry. As long as you don't run away, they won't attack you. Yi Chenfeng said indifferently as he looked at the frightened Sixth Elder Huang. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng continued to attack Sixth Elder Huang with a demon sealing sword in his hand. However, Sixth Elder Huang's fighting spirit was greatly reduced at this time. On the other hand, Yi Chenfeng became braver and braver as he fought and gradually suppressed Sixth Elder Huang's attacks. However, the Imperial Sky Clan's invincible Imperial Sky technique was extremely mysterious. It was constantly repairing Sixth Elder Huang and providing him with an endless amount of energy. As time passed, Yi Chenfeng felt that the resistance in his body had almost disappeared, and he gradually lost his patience. All right, the game is over. Let me send you to the Western Paradise. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng summoned the top-grade ancestral artifact, the Death God Scythe, and slashed at Sixth Elder Huang, who was screaming in fear. With a slash, the space in front of Sixth Elder Huang turned into nothingness. The terrifying Death God Scythe cut through his body like cutting tofu, splitting him into two. Even the incomparably hard Saint core that he had just condensed was shattered by the fatal attack of the Death God Scythe. Chapter 1783. Top Quality Ancestral Artifact. Long Xiaoyan's eyes widened in shock when he saw the death scythe that had destroyed the Sixth Elder. He was shocked that Yi Chenfeng actually possessed a top-quality ancestral artifact that was rarely seen in the Void God world. He was even more shocked that Yi Chenfeng could unleash such power. Let's go. Looking at the raised Bailey family and the trembling Bailey family experts who were hiding in the distance, Yi Chenfeng did not start massacre. He collected everyone's belongings and the Bailey family's treasures that had been collected for tens of thousands of years. He brought Long Xiaotian, the divine demon Torch Dragon, and the primitive Tao embryo and left calmly under the horrified gazes of the crowd. Over 600,000 teleportation stones. These teleportation stones are far from enough. Yi Chenfeng counted his harvest and sighed softly. These teleportation stones were not enough to teleport him to the Void God world. He could only go to other cities to exchange for more teleportation stones. Otherwise, he would not be able to repair the ancient teleportation array. Zimang City. There were a total of 3 cities on Purple Star. Zimang City was the second largest city after Purple Star City. It was also bustling. Although Yi Chenfeng had just massacred the Bailey family and slaughtered more than 10 experts of the Heavenly Imperial Clan, including the 6th Elder of the Heavenly Imperial Clan, he was not worried about revenge. He walked into Purple Radiant City with a calm expression. After asking around, he went to the largest treasure pavilion in Purple Radiant City. He was prepared to repeat the same trick and spent a large amount of money to get the teleportation stone from the treasure pavilion. I'm sorry, young master. The teleportation stones in my heavenly treasure pavilion have all been bought. When Yi Chenfeng arrived at the largest treasure pavilion in Zimang City, he was informed that the teleportation stones in the heavenly treasure pavilion had been bought not long ago. Young lady, may I know who bought the teleportation stones? Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly and asked in a low voice. Forgive me for not telling, young master. She was dressed in a black cheongsam and had a voluptuous figure. She looked like a ripe peach and exuded a charming charm as she apologized. Tell me. Yi Chenfeng's pupils constricted, and 2 illusory vortexes appeared in his deep eyes. In an instant, He controlled the mind of the woman in the Cheongsam and ordered without any resistance. It was the Tian family of the West City who bought all the teleportation stones. The woman in the Cheongsam said in a daze. West City's Tian family. Yi Chen-feng turned around and left the Treasure Heaven Pavilion. Then he summoned the Undying Wings without the slightest scruples to transform into an afterimage in midair as he arrived at the Tian clan's old mansion that occupied an extremely large area at the western part of the city. How dare you? Who are you? Why have you barged into my Tian family's old residence? When Yi Chen-feng descended from the sky and entered the Tian family mansion, it alarmed the entire Tian family. A large number of Tian family experts appeared on the plaza paved with white jade and surrounded Yi Chen-feng. I'm here to discuss business with the Tian family's patriarch. With his hands behind his back, Yi Chen-feng exuded a domineering aura as he spoke arrogantly. Mother Asterisk Kerr, who do you think you are? Is my father someone you can meet? A man with flat eyes and a slightly pale complexion who wore a long white robe spoke angrily. His jet-black, long hair casually draped over his shoulders. Gotcha! As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly felt the ground beneath his feet tremble. With Yi Chen-feng as the center, spiderweb-like cracks burst open. My patience is limited. Ask your Tian family's patriarch to come see me. Otherwise, don't blame me for destroying this place. Bursting forth with a force of 100 billion kilograms and shattering the white jade ground. Yi Chen-feng's deep eyes shot out rays of cold light as he ordered without any room for resistance. You, looking at Yi Chen-feng, whose expression had shattered the ground without moving and feeling the terrifying aura emitted by him. The white-robed man's reprimanding words were all stuck in his throat. Large amounts of sweat appeared on his forehead as he was unable to say anything. I wonder why you're looking for me. Just as the entire Tian family's old residence was shaking violently, a middle-aged man with white hair and wearing a luxurious long robe walked over slowly, accompanied by two old men with turbid auras. He spoke coldly and arrogantly. Sell all the teleportation stones of your Tian family to me. Yi Chen-feng went straight to the point. What a boastful tone. Do you think I'll sell them to you just because you said so? Who do you think you are? Standing beside the Tian family's patriarch, a one-star Tao God old man in a long gray robe spoke angrily. Shut up. Yi Chen-feng's pupils contracted as a powerful aura was released from his body. It turned into an invincible battle saber and slashed towards the old man in a gray robe. Poof! Bearing the attack of the battle saber that Yi Chen-feng released, the old man in a gray robe's body shook as a deep saber mark appeared on his chest. His entire body was sent flying as a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. What? Witnessing Yi Chen-feng severely injuring the old man in a gray robe with his powerful aura, the entire Tian family gasped. You're powerful. However, the teleportation stones are very important to our Tian family. Forgive me for not being able to sell them to you. The Tian family's patriarch spoke forcefully as he secretly took out a hexagonal ancient disc. He was prepared to activate the Tian family's ancestral formation to deal with Yi Chen-feng. Since you're not selling them, I'll have to snatch them. Yi Chen-feng spoke in an overbearing manner. Haha, snatch them. The Tian family's patriarch laughed out loud and said, although you're powerful, our Tian family is not a place where you can behave atrociously. If you want to use force, our Tian family will accompany you. As he spoke, the Tian family's patriarch spat a mouthful of blood essence into the hexagonal ancient disc in his hand and activated the power of the hexagonal ancient disc. It floated in the air as it communicated with the power of the Tian family's ancestral vein and formed an extremely powerful ancestral formation in the void. Since you want to follow in the footsteps of the Bailey family, I'll fulfill your wish. As he spoke, Yi Chen-feng's body erupted with a terrifying aura that soared into the sky. This aura was so strong that it caused everyone present to feel suffocated and fearful. You're the one who destroyed the Bailey family. Hearing Yi Chen-feng's words, the Tian family's patriarch felt as if his head was struck by a bolt from the blue. He trembled, and his face turned pale without a trace of blood. However, Yi Chen-feng did not answer his question. Instead, he summoned the dragon head ancestral bow and shot out a meteor-like ancestral arrow towards the Tian family's ancestral formation. Compared to the Bailey family's ancestral formation, the Tian family's ancestral formation was much weaker. Rumble. After being struck by Yi Chen-feng's 200 billion gene force, the Tian family's ancestral formation was immediately destroyed. The terrifying energy fluctuation caused the entire void to tremble violently. Wait, Senior, my Tian family was wrong. We are willing to give all our transfer stones to Senior. Please be magnanimous and spare us. The news of the Bailey family's destruction had long reached the Tian family. When the Tian family's patriarch confirmed that Yi Chen-feng was the one who destroyed the Bailey family, he was scared out of his wits. While begging for mercy, he handed a dark golden universe ring to Yi Chen-feng. Yi Chen-feng released his soul into the universe ring and found that there were piles of transfer stones inside. After a rough count, he found that there were more than 1 million of them. I'll take these transfer stones, but I'll leave this mid-rank transcendent saint artifact to you. Yi Chen-feng did not start a massacre. Leaving behind the mid-rank transcendent saint artifact he obtained from killing the enemy earlier, he flew away under the surprised gazes of the Tian family's patriarch and others. With more than 1 million transfer stones, Yang Kai felt that he should be able to repair the ancient transmission array. Without further delay, Yang Kai left Purple Star and flew towards the Starry Sea. Even though he knew that a devil race ancestor realm almighty figure was being suppressed in the Sea of Stars, under the circumstances that Shun Daoxiu had yet to recover from his injuries and death had yet to submit, he wasn't willing to provoke that almighty figure of the devil race that was being suppressed. He arrived at the ancient teleportation formation and fused almost 2 million teleportation stones into the teleportation formation. After fusing with the ancient transmission array, Yi Chen-feng used the God-devouring brain to constantly repair and adjust it. After 10 days of hard work, he finally repaired the ancient transmission array. It's time to go to the Void God World. Father, Mother, Nick Hang, wait for me. Chapter 1784. Autumn Cloud Lake was a lake in the depths of the Autumn Lee mountain range. The lake water was so clear that one could see the bottom. It was as beautiful as a painting, like a bright mirror embedded in the depths of the Autumn Lee mountain range. All of you guard the surroundings. Don't let even a fly in. A cold but pleasant female voice rang out in the quiet Autumn Cloud Lake. A woman in a white dress with golden hair draped over her shoulders like a waterfall, delicate eyebrows like crescent moons, a high-nosed bridge, and thin lips that carried a fatal temptation ordered. Yes, young miss. 8 armored guards with extraordinary auras and solemn expressions respectfully obeyed the order. They were extremely beautiful and had a perfect figure. They spread out to guard Autumn Cloud Lake, not allowing anyone to get close. After the guard left, the woman came to the cool lake and summoned a white pearl to float in the air. It formed a large amount of fog that covered Qiuyin Lake, preventing others from seeing the scene inside Qiuyin Lake. Plop! As the fog grew thicker, the woman took off her dress, revealing a flawless, almost perfect and pure white figure. She moved her slender legs that could make men infatuated as she walked into the cold Autumn Cloud Lake. How comfortable! Bathing in Autumn Cloud Lake is indeed much more comfortable than at home. The woman gently lifted the cold and clear lake water and poured it over her smooth shoulders, enjoying the comfortable feeling of being moistened by the lake water. Yes, there's someone. While the woman was bathing on the surface of the lake, she alarmed a man covered in wounds who was hiding in an ancient formation at the bottom of the lake to treat his wounds. This man was none other than Yi Chen-feng, who had been sent to the Faux God realm through the ancient era's teleportation formation. Although using the ancient teleportation formation to come to the Faux God world saved a lot of time, the ancient teleportation formation had existed for too long. When Yi Chen-feng was teleporting, he met with a life and death crisis. If not for his strong foundation, he would have been torn to shreds by the terrifying spatial storm and died. A woman, Yi Chen-feng, opened his eyes slightly and looked at the surface of the lake. His eyes widened and he was stunned. In his eyes, he could clearly see two straight jade legs gently swaying in the lake, and two little white rabbits swaying slightly with her breathing. Coupled with her slender waist, sexy collarbones, and slender figure, it was very seductive. Even though Yi Qinfeng had seen many supreme beauties before, and Xiao Wentao was even more beautiful than fairies, Yi Qinfeng couldn't help but sigh with emotion when he saw this woman swimming in the lake. Whether it was her appearance or her figure, they could be considered perfect. Just as he was secretly sizing up the woman who was swimming happily without knowing that someone was in the lake, the woman suddenly broke into the lake and swam happily like a nimble little fish. Just as the woman was enjoying the comfortable feeling of bathing in the cold lake water, she suddenly saw a pair of eyes at the bottom of the lake, a pair of eyes that were staring straight at her. Someone's here. An inconceivable thought appeared in her mind. The next moment, she instinctively covered her perky breasts with her hands and quickly curled up her slender legs, covering the exposed scenery in the lake. Peeping Tom, I'll kill you. After repeatedly checking, the woman confirmed that there was really a person hiding in the lake. She quickly took out a set of clothes from her chinquin ring and put them on. Then she summoned an extremely sharp spear that was at the level of a lower-grade, transcendent sacred tool. Like a bolt of lightning, she pierced through the cold lake water and attacked Yi Qinfeng. She wanted to steal it. She wanted to kill Yi Qinfeng to vent her hatred for peeping at her bathing. Sigh. Looking at the beautiful woman who was full of murderous intent, Yi Qinfeng, who was in the wrong, sighed softly and quickly left the teleportation formation at the bottom of the lake. He wanted to leave quickly. Thief, you stole it. You peeped at my body, and you still want to run? The beautiful woman transmitted her voice angrily. She used her agile movement technique and directly crossed the cold lake water. She approached Yi Qinfeng and launched a fierce attack at him. Wait, don't misunderstand. I didn't mean to peep at you. I'm just here to heal my injuries. Yi Qinfeng explained helplessly as he dodged the beautiful woman's attack. Do you think I'll believe her nonsense? The angry, beautiful woman was unmoved and continued to attack. Since you peeped at my body, I'll kill you. Seeing that the woman was sure that he had stolen it. Peeping at her, Yi Qinfeng revealed a helpless look. He waved his hand and shot out a powerful sword light. It directly separated the turbulent lake water and flew to the surface of the lake. Where do you think you're going? The beautiful woman roared and chased after Yi Qinfeng with all her strength. She was determined to kill him. The moment Yi Qinfeng flew out of the lake, he frowned slightly as he sensed danger. In the next moment, close to 100 arrows flew from all directions at an extremely fast speed. With ear-piercing sounds, they attacked Yi Qinfeng, who was the first to break through the surface of the lake. Although the power of the arrow that suddenly shot out was great, to Yi Qinfeng, it was not a threat at all. Before the arrows could reach Yi Qinfeng's body, they were shattered by the energy on the surface of his skin. Thief, I'll kill you. The moment Yi Qinfeng shattered the arrows, the enraged, beautiful woman threw out the low-grade sky, piercing Saint's spear in her hand. Like a roaring dragon, it launched a fatal attack at Yi Qinfeng. Tyrannical kick. When the low-grade sky piercing Saint's spear came, Yi Qinfeng quickly stepped out. The tyrannical kick had the force of 100 million caddies and directly shattered the low-grade sky piercing Saint's spear. Boom! The entire autumn cloud lake was struck by Yi Qinfeng's tyrannical kick and sank by dozens of meters. The beautiful woman couldn't dodge in time and was affected. She spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Swish! 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 When the beautiful woman was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's tyrannical kick, a large number of arrows came and shot towards the beautiful woman who had lost control of her body. So they are here for her. Looking at the beautiful woman who was constantly being attacked by arrows, Yi Qinfeng didn't go forward to rescue her. Instead, he prepared to leave. PFFF. Suddenly, the ear-piercing sound of blood spurting was heard. The beautiful woman, who was injured by the tyrannical kick, couldn't withstand the powerful arrows. She spat out a mouthful of blood and was severely injured. Looking at the beautiful woman's pale face and delicate expression, Yi Chunfeng felt an inexplicable sense of pity. He sighed softly and said, "Forget it. I'll save you this time to make up for the misunderstanding just now." With that, Yi Chunfeng gently waved his arm and formed a powerful energy ripple. It fluctuated the incomparably solid space and shattered the arrows that were attacking the woman, pulling her back from the brink of death. Following that, the sacred sword's soul flew out from Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul. It turned into a red light and flew into the lush mountain forest. Soon, shrill screams were heard. Chapter 1785. All right, don't just stand there. I've left one alive for you. You should be able to find out who tried to assassinate you from him. Yi Chunfeng said softly as he looked at the pale-faced, beautiful woman who had yet to recover from her shock. Thank you. The woman who had been scared silly by the scene just now nodded, as if she had forgotten the embarrassing scene of Yi Chunfeng peeking at her while she was bathing. She followed Yi Chunfeng to the shore and saw a masked man who had been knocked unconscious by the saint-level sword soul and was covered in blood. "Do you know him?" Yi Chunfeng asked softly as he waved his arm and shattered the black cloth, revealing a hideous face covered in scars. "No, I don't." Looking at the ghastly scars on the man's face, the woman carefully identified them and shook her head. "That's right. All right, I'll search your soul and see who tried to assassinate you." As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng placed his palm on the top of his head. Using the power of the God-Eater brain, he attempted to search the unconscious man's soul. The moment the power of the God-Eater brain entered the man's sea of soul, it immediately detonated the soul seal in his sea of soul. Bang! The soul seal shattered and the man's head exploded. His soul was crushed and he died on the spot. What a brilliant technique. It seems like they were prepared to die before they tried to assassinate you. These people should be well-trained assassins. Yi Chunfeng said indifferently without any change in expression as he looked at the black-clothed assassin whose head exploded and his life was in the Yellow Springs. Assassins? Why would there be assassins who tried to assassinate me? I didn't offend anyone. The woman's forehead was covered in sweat as she spoke with lingering fear. She had a feeling that if she hadn't met Yi Chunfeng, she might have been killed or captured. Her hatred for Yi Chunfeng had also been reduced to the minimum. "All right, I've saved your life. Let's forget about the misunderstanding between us," Yi Chunfeng said plainly as he looked at the frightened and pale woman. He turned around and was about to leave. Wait. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was about to leave, the woman immediately stopped him. She bit her seductive red lips and said, You can't leave. My reputation as a girl has been seen by you. Do you want to just leave? Then what do you want?" Yi Chunfeng looked at the woman's pale face and said with a smile, "Do you want me to take responsibility?" "Who asked you to be responsible? But you can't ignore my life and death. You have to escort me home. Only then will I forgive you." The woman raised her head slightly and met Yi Chunfeng's eyes. Her cheeks were slightly red as she spoke. "Go home." Yi Chunfeng frowned. "If you can safely escort me home, the misunderstanding between us will be written off. My Wei family will even thank you." With all her guards killed, the woman was truly afraid that another accident would happen. She could only seek help from Yi Chunfeng, whose strength was unfathomable. "How's your Wei family's strength?" Yi Chunfeng hesitated and asked. "My Wei family is one of the 4 major families in Aeon City. No one dares to provoke us within a radius of thousands of miles." Speaking of her family, the woman couldn't help but reveal a proud expression as she pouted. "No one dares to provoke you?" Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "Then why are you being hunted? Why don't you dare to go home alone?" "You." The woman was so angry that her teeth itched. "Forget it. I have nothing to do. I'll escort you back to the Wei family. Also, I didn't mean to spy on you. I've been healing at the bottom of the lake for a long time. It's just that you didn't notice me." Yi Chunfeng had just arrived in the Void God realm and was unfamiliar with the place. He wanted to find a major force to understand the Void God realm and its current location. The Wei family was the perfect target for him to gather information. He nodded in agreement. "TCH, you dare to look but don't dare to admit it. You're not a man." The woman glanced at Yi Chunfeng charmingly. Because Yi Chunfeng had saved her life and pulled her back from the gates of hell, she didn't hold much grudge against Yi Chenfeng. Her tone was also much gentler. Aeon City was located at the edge of the ancient race's territory. It was close to the territory of the human race and the devil race. It was a famous city in the Void God realm. It occupied a vast area. There were endless mountain ranges, vast lakes, endless grasslands, and surging rivers in the city. The Aeon City Lord was a half-step ancestor of the ancient race. He had monstrous means and deterred all the other races from causing trouble in Aeon City. There were 4 ancient families in Aeon City. They were the Sima family, Li family, Wei family, and Qi family. Among the Sima family, Qi family was inherited from the ancient race, Li family was inherited from the devil race, and only Wei family was inherited from the human race. However, because the Wei family's old patriarch, Wei Shitong, was a peak 6-star Dao God expert, the Wei family had always been standing tall in Aeon City. They controlled a lot of resources and forces in Aeon City. We're here. Aeon City is just ahead. Yi Chenfeng and Wei Xinyue rushed for half a day and arrived outside the territory of Aeon City. The beautiful Wei Xinyue pointed at the huge city in the distance. Returning to Aeon City, Wei Xinyue couldn't help but inwardly sigh in relief. She was even more grateful to Yi Chenfeng because on their way back, they encountered another assassination attempt. This time, the assassination attempt was even more ferocious. If it wasn't for Yi Chenfeng's monstrous strength that killed the assassin, she wouldn't have been able to safely return to Aeon City with her strength. The Void God Realm is indeed the Void God Realm. It's impossible to see a city of this scale in the Heaven Domain. Looking at the black, dragon-like city walls that stretch for tens of thousands of miles, the towering city gate that was like a mountain, and the many tall buildings that pierced the clouds, Yi Chenfeng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. "Young miss, you finally returned." The master and the others were worried to death. When Yi Chenfeng and Wei Xinyue walked side by side along an ancient continent towards Aeon City, a 6-star dowered old man with snow-white hair and a face covered in wrinkles noticed them, and he immediately led a few experts of the Wei clan over hastily. The old man clearly heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Wei Xinyue was safe and sound. "Manager Liu, what are you doing here?" Wei Xinyue was slightly excited as she gazed at the old man. When young miss encountered an assassination attempt, a guard sent the news back to the Wei clan before he died. "For the sake of looking for you," the Wei clan's internal guards were mobilized. "Fortunately, young miss returned safely," said Manager Liu. "Then have father and the others found out who tried to assassinate me?" asked Wei Xinyue. "They haven't. Young miss, this is..." Manager Liu glanced at Yi Chenfeng, who had an unfamiliar appearance and was unable to sense his true cultivation, and he asked in a low voice, "This is young Master Yi. He saved me. If it wasn't for him, I might not have been able to return." Wei Xinyue introduced in a light voice. "Thank you for saving our lives, young Master Yi. The Wei clan will never forget your kindness." Manager Liu glanced deeply at Yi Chenfeng before he bowed and spoke with gratitude. "Manager Liu, you're too kind." Yi Chenfeng grinned and spoke in a neither humble nor arrogant manner. Chapter 1786. Wei Clan, one of the 4 great clans of Aeon City, had stood tall in Aeon City for millions of years. They controlled a large amount of resources and power in Aeon City and established the famous Giant Spirit Commerce Alliance. You're finally back. I was worried to death." Wei Xinyue's group had just returned to the Wei clan when the current Wei clan head, a 5-star Dao god, Wei Zhonghai, immediately walked out from the inner hall. Seeing his unharmed and beautiful daughter, he couldn't help but inwardly sigh in relief. "Father." Wei Xinyue moved her slender legs and threw herself into Wei Zhonghai's embrace. Her eyes couldn't help but turn red. This must be young Master Yi who saved you." Wei Zhonghai gently stroked Wei Xinyue's soft black hair and cast his gaze towards Yi Chenfeng, who was standing at the entrance. He secretly sized him up a few times and said, "And if it wasn't for young Master Yi, I might not have been able to come back." Wei Xinyue nodded and said, she didn't expect that she would encounter an assassination during an outing. If she wasn't lucky enough to meet Yi Chen-feng, she might never have been able to come back. Young Master Yi, thank you for saving you. I don't know what you want, but as long as my Wei clan can take it out, we will definitely give it to you. Wei Zhonghai found that he couldn't see through Yi Chen-feng. After pondering for a moment, he generously said, "There's no need for thanks, but I want to ask Wei clan head about some things." Yi Chen-feng had many ancestral artifacts, ancestral pills, and a large number of divine items. Ordinary things were enough to pique his interest. He just wanted to understand the Void God world through the Wei clan. All right, let's talk in the main hall. As long as I know, I will definitely tell young master. Hearing that Yi Chen-feng didn't want anything, Wei Zhonghai revealed a trace of astonishment. However, he quickly recovered and brought Yi Chen-feng to the main hall that was filled with an antique and faint sandalwood fragrance. Young Master Yi, may I know where you're from? What do you want to know? Although Yi Chen-feng's aura wasn't strong, he just sat in his chair in silence, giving people a natural feeling. Moreover, the Wei clan was one of the 4 great clans of Aeon City. Yet, Yi Chen-feng didn't show any restraint in the Wei clan. This caused Wei Zhonghai to look at him in a higher light. I'm just an itinerant cultivator with no fixed abode. Yi Chen-feng vaguely said, and I want to ask Patriarch Wei about what major events have happened in the Void God realm recently, as well as the method to go to the Dragon realm. The reason why Yi Chen-feng wanted to go to the Dragon world was because of Long Xiaotian. He had been suppressed in the universe realm for millions of years, so he really wanted to go home and see if the heavenly dragon race had been affected by the internal strife of the Dragon clan. Furthermore, Yi Chen-feng also wanted to contact the heavenly dragon race through Long Xiaotian and think of a way to befriend them. The dragon world has been sealed. No one can enter the dragon world. Wei Zhonghai looked at Yi Chen-feng with some astonishment and slowly said, "Could it be that the internal strife of the dragon clan has not subsided?" Yi Chen-feng slightly frowned and said, "It shouldn't be. If the internal strife of the dragon clan had subsided, the dragon world would have been opened long ago." Wei Zhonghai shook his head and said, "Then, Patriarch Wei, do you know the inside story of the internal strife of the dragon clan?" Yi Chen-feng took a sip of the sky spirit tea that was filled with dense spiritual energy and continued to ask, "Young Master Yi thinks too highly of me. The Dragon Clan is an overlord-level force in the Void God realm. I simply can't come into contact with them." Wei Zhonghai said, "Then, Patriarch Wei, do you have a way to send me to the place closest to the Dragon World?" Although the Dragon World had sealed itself, Yi Chen-feng had the Space Devourer bug, so he still had a way to enter. Sigh, if it was 3 years ago, I would have been able to send young Master Yi to the vicinity of the Dragon World through the wormhole. However, I can't do it now. Now, all the wormholes of the various races in the Void God realm have been sealed. Wei Zhonghai softly sighed and said, "Why is that?" Yi Chen-feng was somewhat surprised. Could it be that young Master Yi has not heard about the matter of the massacre ancient tomb appearing in the Void God realm? Wei Zhonghai asked in astonishment. He was astonished that Yi Chen-feng did not know about this matter that shocked the entire Void God realm. "I have been in seclusion for the past few years and have just come out. I have not heard about the matter of the massacre ancient tomb," Yi Chen-feng vaguely explained. "So that's how it is." Wei Zhonghai nodded and said, 3 years ago, one of the 3 great ancient tombs of the Heaven region, the massacre ancient tomb, suddenly appeared in the Void God realm. It alarmed the various races in the Void God realm and attracted the experts of various races. They wanted to enter and seize the incomparable opportunity within the massacre ancient tomb. However, the massacre ancient tomb was too dangerous. Although the various races worked together to break the restrictions of the massacre ancient tomb, none of the experts who entered the massacre ancient tomb were lucky enough to escape. All of them died inside, including several almighty ancestor realm experts. The more dangerous the massacre ancient tomb was, the more it aroused the desire of various races to seize the great opportunity within. Just as the almighty ancestor realm experts of various races were about to take action, the massacre ancient tomb strangely shifted its position. In order to suppress the massacre ancient tomb, and prevent it from moving. The almighty ancestor realm experts of various races borrowed void god artifacts to suppress a region. In the end, through the efforts of the almighty ancestor realm experts of various races, the massacre ancient tomb was suppressed. However, the spatial wormholes of the entire void god realm were also affected and became extremely unstable. In order to avoid any accidents, the various races gave the order to seal all the spatial wormholes until the various races obtained the incomparable opportunity within the massacre ancient tomb. I never expected the massacre ancient tomb to appear in the void god realm. I wonder if the desolate ancient tomb will also appear in the void god realm. Legend had it that there were 3 great ancient tombs in the heaven region. They were the desolate ancient tomb, the massacre ancient tomb, and the void ancient tomb. Now that the opportunity within the void ancient tomb had been obtained by Yi Chunfeng, the massacre ancient tomb had appeared in the void god realm. However, the most mysterious desolate ancient tomb had yet to appear. However, the appearance of the massacre ancient tomb in the void god realm made Yi Chunfeng suspect that after the passage of time, the desolate ancient tomb might also be hidden in the void god realm. While they were talking, Housekeeper Su walked in with a tray made of white jade. When he opened the restriction white silk on the tray, it revealed a dark green ancient seal with a toad sitting on top of it. Its surface was engraved with a large amount of ancient vein patterns. It was a low-grade, transcendent, sacred artifact ancient seal. This ancient toad seal was obtained by my Wei clan from an auction 10 years ago. I will give it to young master as a token of gratitude. Wei Zhonghai pointed at the dark green ancient toad seal and said, Wei clan head is too polite. However, there is really no need for a token of gratitude. A low-grade transcendent sacred artifact was already useless to Yi Chunfeng. He shook his head and said, If Wei clan head really wants to thank me, then wait for the spatial wormhole to open and send me to the edge of the dragon world. Young master, could it be that you have a relationship with the dragon race? Wei Zhonghai noticed that when Yi Chunfeng looked at the ancient toad seal, his gaze was calm, without a trace of fluctuation. He guessed that this kind of treasure could not enter his eyes and could not help but look at him in a higher light. We have a lot of history. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said vaguely. Wei Zhonghai saw that Yi Chunfeng was not interested in the ancient toad seal, so he did not insist and promised, Good. I believe that the peak ancestor realm masters of the various races should be able to reach the deepest part of the ancient massacre tomb soon and seize the peerless opportunities inside. When the spatial wormhole opens, I will inform young master as soon as possible. Many thanks. Young master Yi, since you have just arrived at Aeon City, why don't you stay in my Wei clan? Wei Zhonghai increasingly felt that Yi Chunfeng was not ordinary and enthusiastically invited him. Wei clan head is too polite, but I still want to stay outside. Yi Chunfeng did not want to have too much to do with the Wei clan and tactfully refused. Oh, just as Yi Chunfeng was about to bid farewell to Wei Zhonghai and the others and leave, savage roars resounded in the Wei clan's rear hall, causing the air to tremble. Demonic Qi. Chapter 1787. Father, is the demonic energy in grandfather's body getting stronger? Wei Xinyue asked nervously when she heard the roar from the back hall. Yes, the demonic energy in your grandfather's body is getting stronger. Wei Zhonghai looked deeply at Yi Chunfeng and nodded. Then what should we do? Grandfather won't be in danger, right? Wei Xinyue asked worriedly. Wei Zhonghai didn't know Yi Chunfeng well, so he sighed softly and didn't say anything. It seems like your Wei clan is in a bad situation. Xinyue was assassinated for no reason, and it should be directed at your Wei clan. Yi Chunfeng guessed the Wei clan situation from Wei Zhonghai's expression. He pondered for a moment and said, But perhaps I can help you. Really? Wei Xinyue's beautiful big eyes widened, revealing a pleasantly surprised expression. If you trust me, I can try to remove the demonic energy in grandfather's body. Although Yi Chunfeng didn't want to have too much to do with the Wei clan was still valuable to him. He didn't want anything to happen to the Wei clan. Of course I trust you. Quickly take a look at grandfather. Because Yi Chunfeng had saved Wei Xinyue's life, Wei Xinyue believed in him without a doubt. I wonder if clan head Wei is willing to let me treat the old master? Yi Chunfeng asked indifferently as he looked at Wei Zhonghai, who was deep in thought and hesitating. Sigh, then I'll leave it all to young Master Yi. Wei Zhonghai looked deeply at Yi Chunfeng and saw his clear eyes. He gritted his teeth and decided to take the risk and let Yi Chunfeng try. Then let's go. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng followed Wei Zhonghai, Wei Xinyue, and the others to the Wei residence's back hall. Inside an ancient courtyard shrouded in powerful restrictions, waves of devil chi permeated through the restrictions, dyeing the air black. Patriarch Wei, if you trust me, let me go in and treat him myself. Yi Chunfeng didn't want to expose his secret to Wei Zhonghai and the others, so he said slowly, "This, Wei family head, you don't have to worry too much. If I really wanted to scheme against your Wei family, I wouldn't have done it in front of everyone. The only reason I'm helping you is because of the wormhole." Yi Chunfeng placed his hands behind his back, and his handsome face revealed an untamed expression. "Thank you, we'll wait for you outside." Although Yi Chunfeng's tone was a little arrogant, when Wei Zhonghai heard it, the worry in his heart was greatly reduced. Thinking that his father would not be able to hold on for much longer, the only thing he could do now was to take a gamble. "Patriarch, do you really believe him?" Looking at Yi Chunfeng's back as he walked into the restriction alone, everyone in the Wei clan was a little worried. If something happened to the Wei clan's mainstay, it would be a fatal blow to the Wei clan. "Sigh, we have no choice but to gamble." Wei Zhonghai sighed softly and said helplessly, "Don't worry, father. I believe he's a good person." Wei Xinyue clenched her fists and bit her lips. Walking into the main room of the Wei clan's old patriarch, Wei Shitong, Yi Chunfeng found that the demonic qi in the room was very dense. A shriveled old man with glaring eyes was tied to a jade bed by a chain covered with ancient runes. Seeing Yi Chunfeng walk in, the Wei clan's old patriarch, Wei Shitong, roared again. His ferocious appearance made people shudder. What's in his body? Why is the demonic qi so dense? Yi Chunfeng ignored the demonic qi emitted from Wei Shitong's body and slowly walked to his side. He closed his eyes and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce, releasing a powerful soul force into Wei Shitong's body to examine it. What is this? When the powerful soul force penetrated deep into Wei Shitong's body, it found a large number of barely detectable black spots in his bone marrow. The demonic qi in Wei Shitong's body was emitted by these black spots. Demonic goo. Is this the legendary demonic goo? Under the God-Eater brain's rapid deduction, the black spots in Yi Chunfeng's soul sea appeared. These black spots were the demonic goo that could devour life force. There's something in his soul. In addition to the demonic goo, Yi Chunfeng also felt an extremely thin black line in Wei Shitong's soul. This black line was also a type of demonic goo that was used to devour the brain's consciousness. It seems that someone really wants to deal with the Wei clan. They actually used so many precious demonic goo to kill the old patriarch of the Wei clan. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. Wei Shitong's physical condition was not optimistic. If he was not treated, there would be no cure. Fortunately, Yi Chunfeng had the Chaos Divine Wood and the God-Eater Brain, which could restrain the demonic goo. Chaos Divine Wood devour. After sealing Wei Shitong's old house, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and controlled it to extend a large number of 5-colored roots. They drilled into Wei Shitong's body through his pores and devoured the demonic goo that had penetrated deep into his bone marrow. While the Chaos Divine Wood was devouring the demonic goo, Yi Chunfeng pressed on Wei Shitong's head and used the God-Eater Brain to devour the demonic goo in Wei Shitong's soul sea. When Yi Chunfeng dispelled the demonic goo in Wei Shitong's body and soul, he was immediately met with the demonic goo's resistance, causing the weakened Wei Shitong to writhe in pain. Grandpa seems to be in great pain. Hearing the wails from the courtyard, Wei Xinyue's expression changed slightly, revealing a nervous expression. "Zhonghai, we don't know where this person came from. We can't let him continue the treatment." Wei Zhonghai's third uncle, Wei Shiming, said worriedly. He was about to rush in to stop Yi Chanfeng from treating Wei Shitong. No, third uncle. Wei Zhonghai suddenly stood in front of Wei Shiming and said he was right. If he really wanted to harm father, he wouldn't do it in front of so many people. I think he is really treating father. Let's continue to wait. But no buts. If there is an accident, I will bear all the responsibility. Wei Zhonghai took a deep breath and took all the responsibility. Time passed by slowly. Wei Shitong's wails grew louder and louder, causing the entire Wei clan to fall into a state of anxiety. If Wei Zhonghai didn't insist on waiting, the Wei clan would have rushed in and chased Yi Chenfeng away. After more than 6 hours of suffering, Wei Shitong's wails gradually became softer, and the demonic qi in the courtyard became much fainter. The demonic qi has weakened. Could it be that he really has a way to treat Patriarch? Feeling the demonic qi in the courtyard becoming fainter, the Wei clan, who were anxiously waiting, revealed a look of pleasant surprise. A trace of hope appeared in their despairing hearts. After more than 2 hours, Wei Shitong's wails completely disappeared. Patriarch Wei, please come in. At this time, Yi Chenfeng's voice sounded in the ancient courtyard and into Yi Chenfeng's ears. Young Master Yi, how is my father's condition? Wei Zhonghai quickly walked into the ancient house and looked at Yi Chenfeng, who was calmly standing by the bed, and Wei Shitong, who had fallen into a deep sleep and whose complexion had returned to normal. He asked nervously, "The demonic goo in the old patriarch's body has been removed by me. However, the old patriarch has been tortured by the demonic goo for too long. I estimate that he will need to rest for several months to recover," Yi Chenfeng said faintly. Really? Wei Zhonghai was overjoyed. He immediately stepped forward and grabbed Wei Shitong's skinny wrist. He released a powerful soul force into his body and carefully checked to make sure that the demonic qi in his body had really disappeared. My Wei clan will never forget young Master Ye's kindness. Wei Zhonghai bowed deeply to Yi Chenfeng. Yi Chenfeng's actions had undoubtedly pulled his Wei clan out of the fire. As long as Wei Shitong recovered, those who secretly wanted to deal with the Wei clan would have to think twice. Patriarch Wei, how much do you know about the demonic goo? Seeing Wei Zhonghai's agitated appearance, Yi Chenfeng said faintly, I've heard of it, but I don't know much. Wei Zhonghai said truthfully, the demonic goo is very scary. It can nibble away at one's vitality and consciousness bit by bit. However, it is not easy to make the demonic goo host. Only a close relative can do it, Yi Chenfeng said slowly. Young master, you means that my Wei clan has a mole. Wei Zhonghai's expression changed slightly. This is your Wei clan's matter. It has nothing to do with me. Yi Chenfeng smiled and said, all right, I'm tired. I'm going back to rest. If the wormhole can be used again, remember to inform me. Chapter 1788. Aeon City, I guess I'll have to stay here for a while. The Void God realm was too vast, and there were too many unknown dangers. To be safe, Yi Chenfeng decided to stay in Aeon City for a while and wait for the wormhole to open so he could go to the Dragon World. In order to avoid being disturbed while cultivating, Yi Chenfeng directly spent a high price to buy a quiet ancient courtyard in Aeon City. He also spent over 1,000 array stones to lay down a defensive array in the courtyard, as if someone was disturbing him. After resting for a night, Yi Chenfeng left the ancient courtyard early in the morning. After asking around, he arrived at a large pagoda in Aeon City. There was a crescent moon embedded at the top of the pagoda and a powerful restriction around it. So lively! Walking into the ancient pavilion, Yi Chenfeng found that the first floor was very lively. Many powerful experts were picking out suitable antiques for themselves. The Void God Realm is indeed the Void God Realm. Emperor-level experts that are rarely seen in the Heaven region can be found everywhere here. There are even many Master-level experts. Yi Chenfeng glanced at the experts in the hall and did not stop. He walked up the wooden stairs to the side, wanting to go to the second floor. Sir, please show your star token. Only honored guests with 2 stars and above can enter the second floor of my ancient Heaven Pavilion. At this moment, a guard wearing dark golden armor stopped Yi Chenfeng and spoke in a deep voice. He was guarding the wooden staircase and was stopping Yi Chen-feng. Star token. Yi Chen-feng slightly frowned. He took out the Wei clan's ancient token that Wei Zhonghai gave him before he left and said, "Can I go to the second floor of the ancient heaven pavilion with this token?" Wei clan's ancient token. Looking at the ancient token in Yi Chen-feng's hand with the word Wei carved on it, the armored guard immediately revealed a respectful expression and said, "Young master, please go to the second floor." Yi Chen-feng didn't expect the Wei clan's ancient medallion to be so useful. He nodded his head and followed the wooden stairs to the second floor of the ancient tower. Accompanied by a young and beautiful maidservant, he went to the treasure vault to pick out some antiques. As Yi Chen-feng's strength increased, his horizons also became wider. He walked around the second floor of the treasure pavilion and didn't find any antiques that caught his eye. Then, he went to the third floor to choose an antique. Entering the third floor of the ancient heaven tower, Yi Chen-feng saw only a few people choosing antiques. Among them, there was a woman wearing a tight-fitting backless dress that vividly accentuated the curves of her body. Her face was covered with heavy makeup, and her eyes were filled with charm. He couldn't help but take another look at her. But soon, Yi Chen-feng's attention was attracted by an ancient clock carved with strange patterns on the shelf. Through the God-Eater brain's repeated confirmations, he felt that the runes on the surface of the ancient bell had been carved with a special soul-drawing technique. If he shattered the ancient bell, these runes would become pure soul energy that the God-Eater brain could directly devour and accelerate its evolution. This ancient bell is not bad. I wonder how many Saint crystals it can sell for. Although Yi Chen-feng had just arrived in the Void God realm, Shun Daxu had killed the 4 demon ancestors. In addition, he had killed the people of the Imperial Sky Clan, so he had a large amount of Saint crystals on him. If young lord wants it, you only need to pay 1 million low-rank Saint crystals. A young and beautiful maid with fair skin wearing a jade-green dress said softly, "Ancient bell, let me have a look." The charming woman who was choosing antiques saw the ancient bell in Yi Chen-feng's hands from afar. She was immediately attracted by the ancient runes on the surface of the ancient bell. Her eyes lit up as she slowly walked over and said arrogantly, "I'll buy this ancient bell." Yi Chen-feng coldly glanced at her and was about to pay 1 million low-rank Saint crystals to buy the ancient bell. "Didn't you hear what I said? I told you to let me have a look at this ancient bell." The charming woman didn't expect Yi Chen-feng to ignore her. Her face sank as she said angrily, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and take the money." Yi Chen-feng handed a universe ring with 1 million low-rank Saint crystals to the girl in green who was in a dilemma. "You're not allowed to take his money. I'll buy this ancient bell." The charming woman angrily glared at Yi Chen-feng and ordered in an irresistible manner, "I'm not selling." Yi Chen-feng forcefully stuffed the universe ring into the green-dressed woman's soft and smooth hands. Under the enraged gaze of the charming woman, he took away the ancient bell. "Stop!" The charming woman didn't expect Yi Chen-feng to not give her any face. Flames of anger ignited in her heart as she quickly blocked in front of Yi Chen-feng and shouted loudly, "You dare to snatch something this young lady wants? You must be tired of living. Are you provoking me?" Yi Chen-feng's pupils shrank as killing intent suddenly erupted from his body. At this moment, he was like a wolf that had been lying in wait for a long time, revealing his sharp fangs and killing intent. Do you know who I am?" Feeling Yi Chen-feng's killing intent, the charming woman's heart trembled as a strong sense of fear rose within her, causing her voice to tremble slightly. "I don't want to kill anyone today. I hope you don't force me," Yi Chen-feng coldly warned before pushing aside the charming woman in front of him and leaving calmly. "Just you wait. I won't let you off." The charming woman had never suffered such a great humiliation before. Staring at Yi Chen-feng's departing back, she gnashed her teeth in hatred and spat. Although Yi Chen-feng felt that the charming woman's identity was extraordinary, he didn't take it to heart. With his current strength and heritage, he could easily sweep through Aeon City, so he didn't put the charming woman's family in his eyes. After leaving the ancient heaven pavilion, Yi Chen-feng continued to wander around Aeon City. However, Aeon City was simply too big. After walking around for half a day, he had only explored 1/10 of the eastern part of the city and didn't have any special harvests. As the sky gradually darkened, Yi Chunfeng was preparing to return to the ancient courtyard he had purchased to refine the ancient bell and release his soul force. However, more than 10 aggressive men blocked him on a remote street. "It's you." Seeing the charming woman who had a conflict with him in the morning standing in the crowd and looking at him with malicious intent, Yi Chunfeng's face sank as he coldly said, "Do you really think I don't dare to kill you? Mother of asterisk her, do you think you can threaten my Bei family's princess? If you know what's good for you, kneel down and beg for mercy. Maybe Miss Bei will spare your life if she's in a good mood." A burly man with thick hair all over his body warned fiercely. He had a scorpion tattoo on the left side of his face, and his eyes that were sunken into his cheeks emitted a strong sense of fierceness. "Huh!" As soon as his voice fell, the crisp sound of a slap suddenly rang out. Yi Chunfeng swung his palm across the air and fiercely slapped the burly man's cheek, shattering his cheekbones and sending him flying. He crashed heavily into a distant brick wall, causing a large part of it to collapse. "You're courting death." The Bei family's experts didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so arrogant and directly hit someone. They were immediately enraged as they summoned their treasures and attacked Yi Chunfeng. But when they attacked, they suddenly felt their vision blur. In the next moment, a force beyond their imagination fiercely bombarded their bodies, breaking through their physical defenses and sending them flying. They spat out a large amount of blood in midair and flew into the distance. Their vision turned black and they all fainted. "You don't come over." Seeing the helpers she brought being dealt with by Yi Chunfeng in the blink of an eye, the charming woman was so frightened that her beautiful face turned pale. She watched as Yi Chunfeng walked over step by step and retreated while speaking in horror. "Huh!" Yi Chunfeng didn't show any mercy. He raised his hand and ruthlessly slapped the charming woman's cheek, causing the pretty face that she was so proud of to swell. Immediately after, Yi Chunfeng backhanded and ruthlessly slapped her cheek again. A large amount of blood flowed uncontrollably from the corner of her mouth. "Remember, don't provoke me again, or I'll break your neck." Chapter 1789. In the dead of the night, only the chirping of insects could be heard. Break! After refining until late at night, Yi Chunfeng used the wheel of life and death to grind the ancient clock. A large number of ancient soul runes floated in the air like will-o-wisps. God-eater brain, devour! Looking at the thousands of ancient soul runes floating in front of him, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the God-eater brain. It floated in the air and released a powerful devouring power, devouring the ancient soul runes one by one. After devouring thousands of ancient soul runes, the God-eater brain immediately split out a large number of brain cells, accelerating its evolution. However, as the God-eater brain grew stronger, it needed more energy to evolve into a subbrain. The ancient clock's soul runes were not enough for it to evolve. After retrieving the God-eater brain back into his soul sea, Yi Chunfeng consumed a supreme-grade heaven-piercing Saint elixir and began to cultivate. He slowly increased his strength and tried to break through to the 6-star Dao God realm. On the third day of his secluded cultivation, Wei Xinyue, who was wearing a tight black miniskirt, revealing her snow-white slender legs, and wearing a huge gem around her neck, arrived outside the old courtyard he rented. She was extremely beautiful. "How was your grandfather?" Sensing Wei Xinyue's arrival, Yi Chunfeng woke up from his cultivation. He closed the restriction in the courtyard and welcomed her in. "Thank you for saving my grandfather, young Master Yi. My grandfather is fine now." Wei Xinyue blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng. She said gratefully, "Young Master Yi, do you have time tonight? My grandfather would like to invite you to his residence to thank you personally for saving his life. I accept your grandfather's kindness, but I still have to cultivate, so I won't be going." Yi Chunfeng shook his head and rejected her tactfully. "Well, all right then." Wei Xinyue wanted to continue persuading him, but looking at Yi Chunfeng's determined eyes, she knew that forcing it would only make Yi Chunfeng feel disgusted. "Young Master Yi, in a few days, My Wei clan is going to hold a private trade fair. Are you interested in joining? Private trade fair. Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up. He was a little interested. All right, tell me the time and place of the trade fair. I'll go take a look. This is the invitation card. Wei Xinyue handed a delicate invitation card to Yi Chenfeng and said, "We will be at the trade fair, waiting for young master's arrival." After she finished speaking, she didn't stay in the courtyard for long and turn around to leave. Let's hope we can gain something from this private trade fair. Yi Chenfeng kept the invitation into the universe realm and returned to his room. He continued to refine the top-grade, transcendent Holy Dan to increase his strength. Time flew by, and soon 5 days had passed. When evening approached, Yi Chenfeng left the ancient courtyard and followed the route on the invitation card to the Wei clan's private trade fair. The Wei clan really knows how to choose a place. Yi Chenfeng looked at the luxurious and beautiful trading venue at the center of the lake, which was illuminated by a large number of lights. He took out his invitation card and handed it to the Wei clan guard guarding the only wooden bridge that led to the center of the lake. He then walked into the trading venue that was filled with pleasant zither music. Because Yi Chenfeng had arrived early, there weren't many people in the brightly lit trade fair. Moreover, Yi Chenfeng didn't know anyone in Aeon City. He took a wine cup from a beautiful maid and tasted the century-old pure wine while admiring the lake's scenery outside the window while waiting for the private auction to begin. Why are you here? How did you sneak in?" While Yi Chenfeng was waiting in silence, a discordant voice suddenly sounded. Miss Bei, who had been taught a lesson by Yi Chenfeng a few days ago and had her face swollen from slapping, discovered him and loudly rebuked him. "You're really haunting me." Yi Chenfeng slowly turned around and looked at the charming woman who was gnashing her teeth with an ominous glint in her eyes. "Miss Bei, what's the matter?" Hearing the charming woman's angry roar, several Wei clan guards hurried over and politely asked, "Get this person out of here." Although the charming woman was somewhat afraid of Yi Chenfeng, when she thought of the humiliation he had brought her and her relationship with the Wei clan, she was prepared to use the Wei clan's strength to deal with Yi Chenfeng. This, because Yi Chenfeng had only shown his face once in the Wei clan, not many people had seen him before. However, for Yi Chenfeng to be able to enter this place, it was clear that his identity was not simple. This put the Wei clan guards in a difficult position. "This person's background is unknown. I suspect that he snuck in," the charming woman persistently said. "It seems that the warning I gave you last time wasn't enough." Yi Chenfeng's eyes flashed with a cold light as he looked at the charming woman who was constantly provoking him. What do you want? I'm warning you. This is not a place for you to behave atrociously." Seeing Yi Chenfeng's sharp eyes, the charming woman's heart inexplicably trembled. She braced herself and shouted loudly. Her shouting attracted a lot of people, including the Wei clan supervisor in charge of this private trade fair. "Miss Bei, what's wrong with you?" A man wearing a white martial arts suit, with slightly white hair and a clear scar at the corner of his left eye, looked at the charming woman who had turned pale and asked politely, "Supervisor Jean, you came at the right time. This person is an extremely vicious person. I suspect that he has snuck in with evil intentions. Please drive him out and protect everyone's safety." When the charming woman saw the supervisor of the Wei clan appear, her uneasy heart calmed down a little. She pointed at Yi Chenfeng and loudly reprimanded. "Miss Bei, don't be anxious. I'll go check his invitation now. If there's really something wrong with him, we'll naturally give you an explanation." Thinking of the relationship between the charming woman and the Wei clan, Supervisor Jean did not dare to offend her and said politely, "Sir, I wonder if you have an invitation for my Wei clan?" Looking at Yi Chenfeng's unfamiliar face, Supervisor Jean asked softly, "Do you think I can come in without an invitation?" Yi Chenfeng said indifferently, "Then can you take out the invitation and let me check it?" Hearing Yi Chenfeng's cold tone, Supervisor Jean frowned slightly and said softly, "If I don't want to take it out, are you going to drive me away?" Yi Chenfeng's eyes flashed with cold light. He was very dissatisfied with the way the Wei clan handled things. "Supervisor Jean, you see, he doesn't have an invitation at all. I suspect that he's a thief who snuck in to steal things." Seeing that Yi Chenfeng was unwilling to take out the invitation, The charming woman was overjoyed and struck while the iron was hot. Thief! The entire auction fell into clamorous noise when they heard the charming woman shout, and many people were drawn over. Numerous pairs of questioning gazes shot towards Yi Chun-feng in unison. If you're unable to produce an invitation, then we can only take you down. Supervisor Jean spoke with an unsightly expression. Oomph! With just the two of you? Yi Chun-feng grunted coldly, and he spoke with disdain as he gazed at Supervisor Jean, who was only a two-star Dowlord. How audacious! You actually dare to look down upon my Wei clan? It seems to me that you're tired of living. Supervisor Jean hadn't expected that Yi Chun-feng would be so arrogant and look down upon him in public. He was instantly infuriated, and he intended to order his subordinates to take Yi Chun-feng down. What's going on? Right when the atmosphere was slightly tense and chaotic, an icy, cold voice resounded. A man who wore a gorgeous robe and had an extraordinary bearing walked over slowly while accompanied by two subordinates. Chapter 1790. Hung-yi, you came at the right time. This person is a thief. After I exposed his identity, not only did he not repent, he even threatened me. You must help me. The charming woman hugged Wei Hung-yi's arm tightly, squeezing her soft breasts as she cried loudly. What? There's such a thing? Wei Hung-yi was the son of the second head of the Wei clan, Wei Penghong. His status in the Wei clan was not lower than Wei Xinyue's. He was a complete hedonistic son. After learning that his woman was bullied, he flew into a rage. The way he looked at Yi Chun-feng turned cold. How dare you come to my Wei clan's private auction and make trouble? I think you're tired of living. Wei Hung-yi exposed the soft waist of the charming woman and glared at Yi Chun-feng. He scolded, What are you all standing there for? Break his legs. Are you sure you want to deal with me? Although Yi Chun-feng needed the help of the Wei clan, it did not mean that he would tolerate them. Looking at the murderous Wei Hung-yi, Yi Chun-feng said coldly, What? You dare to harm me? Do you know who I am? Wei Hung-yi was even more annoyed when he met Yi Chun-feng's cold eyes. How about we make a bet? If I break your legs, will the Wei clan take revenge on me? Looking at the experts of the Wei clan slowly approaching, Yi Chun-feng smiled and said calmly, Damn it, you're courting death. As the second young master of the Wei clan, Wei Hung-yi had never been threatened in public. A surge of anger burned in his chest. He ordered loudly, What are you all standing there for? Break his legs. I'm going to chop him up and feed him to the fish. Crack! As soon as Wei Hung-yi's voice fell, the hair-raising sound of bones breaking rang out. Immediately after, the quiet auction hall was filled with tragic wails. However, this wail did not come from Yi Chun-feng. It came from the arrogant and insufferably arrogant Wei Hung-yi. His legs were broken by the terrifying aura released by Yi Chun-feng, and he knelt on the ground like a dog. Looking at Wei Hung-yi, who was hugging his legs, rolling on the ground, and howling in pain, everyone present was dumbfounded. He really dared to break young Master Wei's legs. Heavens, who the hell is he? He actually dares to provoke the Wei clan in public. Isn't he afraid of the Wei clan's revenge? Looking at the scene before them, everyone present was dumbfounded. They looked at Yi Chun-feng as if they were looking at a monster. They want to know why he was so bold as to break Wei Hung-yi's legs in public, provoking the Wei family, one of Aeon's 4 great families. Just as everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them, Yi Chun-feng's hands moved like lightning. Like a pair of pliers, he grabbed the beautiful woman's neck and lifted her into the air as if he was lifting a chick. I warned you not to provoke me again, but you didn't listen. Tell me, how should I punish you? Yi Chun-feng's eyes shot out a sharp light that pierced into the charming woman's eyes as he spoke with a murderous intent. How dare you? Let go of Miss Bei. The Wei clan experts who recovered from their shock were furious. They all tried to capture Yi Chun-feng. Get lost. A furious roar erupted from Yi Chun-feng's mouth. His voice was so loud that it caused the entire trading hall to tremble. The charming woman who bore the brunt of it was shaken to the point of bleeding from her 7 orifices. Her soul trembled and she was in great pain. Bang, bang, bang. Under the impact of Yi Chun-feng's powerful aura, the Wei clan's guards who were close to him were sent flying, knocking over many tables and chairs. The elegantly decorated hall was destroyed in an instant. No, don't kill me. I beg you, don't kill me. I won't dare to provoke you again. Feeling the murderous intent in Yi Chunfeng's eyes getting stronger, the charming woman was really scared. She had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng really dared to break her neck. Stop. What are you doing? Just as everyone was intimidated by Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength and the atmosphere became oppressive, an angry roar was heard. A middle-aged man who was wearing a gorgeous robe and looked somewhat similar to Wei Hengyi appeared with a few Wei clan experts. He held 2 valuable jade balls in his hands. Uncle Wei, save me. Seeing the second clan master of the Wei clan, Wei Penghong, who was a 5-star Dao god, appear, the charming woman who was struggling in pain immediately cried for help. Her throat was choked by Yi Chunfeng and lifted into the air. Father, my legs were broken by this little bastard. You must avenge me. Wei Hengyi, who was rolling on the ground while holding his broken legs, cried out loudly. Who are you? Why did you come to my Wei clan's private trading fair to cause trouble? Wei Penghong's eyes were filled with sternness as he ordered, hurry up and release Xue Mei. If they don't provoke me, I won't provoke them. They only have themselves to blame. Because Yi Chunfeng still needed to borrow the Wei clan's wormhole, he took a deep breath and suppressed the murderous intent in his heart. With a slight force in his right hand, he directly threw the screaming, charming woman out. She smashed through the hard wall and fell directly into the ice-cold lake. How dare you commit such a crime in front of me? It seems that you don't respect my Wei clan at all. Seeing Yi Chunfeng throw the charming woman into the lake, the corner of Wei Penghong's eyes twitched violently. His expression became extremely gloomy as he spoke in a cold voice. Don't bring up the Wei clan for no reason. I'm afraid you can't represent the Wei clan. Yi Chunfeng ignored Wei Penghong's angry gaze. With his hands behind his back, he spoke with an indifferent expression. All right. Seeing that it wasn't easy for you to cultivate, I originally wanted to spare your life. But it seems that there's no need for that now. Yi Chunfeng's words opened up the scar in Wei Penghong's heart and aroused the anger in his heart. He crushed the jade ball in his hand, and his hands moved like lightning. With the terrifying power of thunder, he attacked Yi Chunfeng. For a moment, the entire trading fair was filled with the deafening sound of thunder. The terrifying sound made one's mind shake. In the face of this lightning attack, Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge. He quickly took a step forward, and the power that erupted from the bottom of his feet caused the entire trading hall to tremble. With a punch, dense sonic booms rang out in the air. The power of more than 200 billion kilograms crushed the terrifying thunder like breaking rotten wood and smashed ruthlessly into Wei Penghong's penetrating arms. A power that exceeded Wei Penghong's imagination poured into his arms, causing them to tremble and his entire body to be thrown out. What? Seeing Yi Chunfeng send Wei Penghong flying with a punch, everyone present was dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that the young Yi Chunfeng actually had such terrifying strength. Wei Hengyi, who had been shouting loudly, looked as if he had seen a ghost. The cold smile on his face instantly froze. Now, do you still think you can kill me? Looking at Wei Penghong, who had been sent flying by his punch and had to take dozens of steps back to stabilize his body, his arms were numb, and his face was flushed red, Yi Chunfeng spoke with his hand behind his back. Little bastard, I'll take your life. Although Yi Chunfeng's combat strength was beyond his imagination, Wei Penghong believed that he could still kill him if he used his trump card. With an angry roar, he summoned a saber that swallowed and spat out heavenly power. The saber flowed like a tidal wave, and he was about to use all his strength to kill Yi Chunfeng. Suddenly, a low and deep voice rang out. Penghong, stop. Chapter 1791. Grandfather, you must uphold justice for me and avenge me. Not only did this little bastard break her legs, he also humiliated Xue Mei and threw her into the lake. Seeing that Wei Shitong's legs had been crushed by Yi Chunfeng, Wei Hengyi, who was lying on the ground, immediately crawled over and loudly denounced Yi Chunfeng's crimes. Young Master Yi, what happened? Wei Xinyue didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to have a conflict with Wei Hengyi. Her brows were tightly knitted together as she looked at Yi Chen-feng, who had his hands behind his back and a calm expression. I think this supervisor Jean can tell you what happened. Yi Chen-feng's sharp eyes met Wei Shirtong's muddy old eyes as he said indifferently, Jean Kong, what happened? Tell me the truth. Old Master Wei Shirtong's face darkened. He cast his gaze at Supervisor Jean, who had beads of sweat on his forehead and was feeling nervous, and ordered without any room for resistance. Our replying old family head. Just now Miss Bay suspected that this young master was a thief who secretly snuck in. When I checked the invitation, he didn't give it to me, so Supervisor Jean didn't expect Yi Chen-feng to know Wei Xinyue. He immediately felt that something was wrong and reported in detail. In the end, he didn't know how to continue. So what? Wei Shirtong said with a gloomy expression. So they want to drive me out. Yi Chen-feng said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Jean Kong, who gave you the dog guts to drive out my honored guest? Although Wei Shirtong's understanding of Yi Chen-feng was limited, he was clear about Yi Chen-feng's methods. Moreover, Yi Chen-feng had given him and the Wei family a new lease of life. He wanted to be on good terms with Yi Chen-feng and the power behind him. However, all of this was almost ruined. This made Wei Shirtong even angrier, and he wanted to kill Jean Kong. What? He is grandfather's honored guest. Wei Hung was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Yi Chen-feng to have such a powerful background. Not only was Wei Hung dumbfounded, everyone present was dumbfounded. They finally knew why Yi Chen-feng was so arrogant and broke Wei Hung's leg in public. With the support of the Wei family's mainstay, Wei Shirtong, he really didn't need to worry about a dandy. Old master, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Under Wei Shirtong's penetrating gaze, Supervisor Jean was terrified. His legs went soft, and he knelt on the ground, begging for mercy. I'm sorry, young Master Yi. I didn't expect something like this to happen today. But don't worry, they offended you. So I'll give you an explanation. As an existence standing at the pinnacle of Aeon City, Wei Shirtong clearly knew that experts could not be humiliated. If it were him, he would also not be able to endure such humiliation and would most likely kill together. Grandfather, he broke my legs. Don't tell me you want to punish me. Wei Hingyi covered his legs that were broken by Yi Chen-feng and said unwillingly, That's right, father. Although I don't know his relationship with you, he caused such a ruckus here. He clearly didn't give my Wei family any face. If we let him go like this, where will my Wei family's dignity go? Wei Penghong's eyes revealed a sinister light as he glared at Yi Chen-feng. Then what do you want? Yi Chen-feng smiled and said, Lower your head and apologize. Wei Penghong said domineeringly, Apologize? Are you worthy? Yi Chen-feng's expression gradually turned cold. The sharp light in his eyes seemed to be able to penetrate Wei Penghong's body. Shut up, Penghong. If you offend young Master Yi again, don't blame me for serving you according to my family's laws. Although Wei Shirtong didn't know Yi Chen-feng's strength, Wei Shirtong felt that he wasn't simple. He didn't want the situation to worsen and shouted loudly, Father, take Hung-yi and get out of here. I don't want to see you today. Wei Shirtong ordered sternly. What? Don't you understand my words? If you don't get out of here, I'll serve you according to my family's laws. Okay, I'll leave. Seeing that Wei Shirtong was truly angry, Wei Penghong could only grit his teeth and swallow his anger. He ordered people to carry Wei Hung-yi, whose legs were shattered, and left in humiliation. Heavens, who was that person? Not only did he not break Wei Hung-yi's legs, he even chased away the Wei family's father and son. That person can make the Wei family lower their heads. His identity is definitely not simple. Could it be that the Wei family has some ulterior motive for befriending him? Seeing the angry Wei Penghong and his father leave, as well as the arrogant and extraordinary Yi Chen-feng, the major powers that had arrived early were surprised. They all started to guess the identity of Yi Chen-feng. Zhonghai informed the other families that today's private trade fair is over. Wei Shirtong ordered in a low voice. The conflict just now had made him lose interest in continuing the private trade fair. Young Master Yi, today's matter is indeed my Wei family's fault. Please don't take it to heart. Wei Shirtong lowered his posture and said apologetically, "Old family head, you're too serious." Yi Chen-feng smiled slightly and said neither arrogantly nor humbly, "I wonder what treasures the Wei family has prepared for this trade fair. Can you let me take a look? If possible, I'm willing to make a deal with you." "Okay, young Master Yi, let's talk inside." Wei Shirtong's turbid eyes shone brightly. He nodded and led Yi Chen-feng through the chaotic hall to a luxuriously decorated inner hall with a huge crystal chandelier. "My Wei family has prepared 3 treasures for this private trade fair. But before seeing the 3 treasures, can young Master Yi help me arrange a scroll of ancient characters?" Wei Shirtong did not take out the 3 treasures. He wanted to test Yi Chen-feng's ability. Of course, Yi Chen-feng took a sip of spirit tea and nodded. "Young Master, please take a look." Wei Shirtong took out a parchment scroll. There were more than 3,000 strange and ancient characters written on it. Ancient characters. Looking at the characters on the parchment scroll, Yi Chen-feng was surprised. "I wonder if young Master can decipher the meaning of these ancient characters?" Looking at the frowning Yi Chen-feng, Wei Shirtong sighed softly in his heart. He felt that Yi Chen-feng should not be able to decipher the ancient characters. "Let me try." Yi Chen-feng took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce the strange ancient characters on the parchment scroll. At this time, Wei Zhonghai walked in and glanced at Yi Chen-feng, who was holding the parchment scroll with his eyes closed. He exchanged a look with Wei Shirtong and then sat down in silence. About an hour later, Yi Chen-feng opened his eyes and said, "This should be the opening of an ancient study, but the order of each line is reversed. The correct order is..." Yi Chen-feng took out a pen from the universe mirror and wrote down a serial number before each line of ancient characters. He handed it to Wei Zhonghai, whose expression changed slightly. "Young Master Yi, you can really decipher these ancient characters." Wei Shirtong, Wei Zhonghai, and the others widened their eyes and stared blankly at Yi Chen-feng. There was a trace of joy and hope between their brows. "Pretty much." Yi Chen-feng nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble young Master Yi to take a look at this ancient scroll and see if he can help us decipher the cultivation chant." As he spoke, Wei Shirtong took out an ancient tree that seemed to have withered long ago, a tortoiseshell the size of a palm with over 100 ancient characters engraved on its surface, a pitch-black crystal, and a somewhat tattered ancient book sealed with a powerful restriction. "Okay, I'll try my best." Yi Chen-feng controlled the God-Eater brain to sense the 3 treasures. His heart trembled as he suppressed his excitement and asked, "Then I'll leave everything to young Master Yi. Regardless of success or failure, young Master can take away 1 treasure. If you can decipher it completely, these 3 treasures are all yours." Wei Shirtong promised. "Okay." Chapter 1792. "Father, we have to take revenge for this. I must break that little bastard's limbs and make him beg for death." Wei Hung gnashed his teeth and said after his legs were broken by Yi Chen-feng. He wished he could eat Yi Chen-feng's flesh and drink his blood. "There's no hurry. Let me investigate that little bastard's background first and see who he is." Wei Penghong calmed down a lot. His eyes flashed with a fierce light as he spoke. The news of Wei Hang's legs being broken and Wei Penghong being driven out of the trading hall spread like the wind throughout Aeon City. Many people knew about Yi Chen-feng. Among them, the Bei family's reaction was the strongest. They immediately found Wei Penghong and inquired about Yi Chen-feng's identity, wanting to retaliate against him. However, Yi Chen-feng had just arrived in Aeon City and no one knew his origins. For a time, no one dared to take the lead. However, the investigation of him was slowly unfolding. The night quickly passed. When the first rays of the morning sun shined on the surface of the lake, rippling with dazzling light, Yi Chen-feng, who had been controlling the God-Eater brain for the entire night, let out a breath of turbid air and woke up from his deduction. "How is it, young Master Yi? How much did you translate?" This ancient book was extremely important to the Wei family. If Yi Chen-feng could translate it, the Wei family might be able to use this ancient book to intimidate everyone and survive this crisis. The ancient characters in this ancient book have existed for too long. I spent an entire night and only managed to translate 4 pages. As Yi Chun-feng spoke, he took out a pen and wrote down the ancient characters he had translated on the ancient scroll that the Wei family had prepared. Yes, the translation of these ancient characters is correct. Wei Shirtong quickly skimmed through the ancient characters on the ancient scroll. His eyes suddenly lit up. Through comparison, he determined that Yi Chun-feng had translated the ancient characters without any problems. He couldn't help but look at Yi Chun-feng in a higher light, feeling that he was extraordinary. Young Master Yi, how long will it take to translate this ancient book? Wei Shirtong asked expectantly. About a month or so. Yi Chun-feng pondered for a moment and said, Young Master Yi, these ancient books are very important to my Wei clan. Can you stay in my Wei clan while you are translating them? Wei Shirtong promised. Regardless of success or failure, I will give you these 3 ancient items. All right. After translating 4 pages, Yi Chun-feng was already deeply attracted by this ancient book. He had a feeling that this ancient book might very well record the most profound, supreme, divine ability of the Void God realm. If he could comprehend it, it would greatly increase his battle prowess and foundation. Many thanks, young Master Yi. I am definitely going to befriend you. Hearing Yi Chun-feng's agreement, Wei Shirtong was overjoyed. He didn't stay for long and immediately left the island and returned to the Wei residence. Old Patriarch Wei, I see that your body is still very weak. I'll give you this heavenly purple jade thunder fruit. If you eat this fruit, it should be able to speed up your recovery. Yi Chun-feng didn't want to take advantage of the Wei clan too much, so he took out the heavenly purple jade thunder fruit he obtained from the Great Void Tomb and gave it to Wei Shirtong. Heavenly purple jade thunder fruit. When Wei Shirtong saw Yi Chun-feng hand over the heaven-piercing fruit, which was dark purple in color and contained strong, holy lightning energy, his eyes widened in shock. Young Master Yi, this is too precious. Wei Shirtong had heard of the heavenly purple jade thunderfruit's fame and knew its value. Moreover, the Wei clan mainly cultivated the Tao of lightning. It could be said that this heavenly purple jade thunderfruit's value to the Wei clan surpassed a low-grade ancestral pellet. Old Wei is too polite. Yi Chun-feng smiled and said, All right, Old Wei, I'm going into seclusion to translate. Don't let anyone disturb me while I'm translating. Don't worry, young Master Yi. This old man promises you that in my Wei clan, no one will disturb you. Wei Shirtong patted his chest and promised. He was determined to be on good terms with Yi Chun-feng. After Wei Shirtong and the others left, Yi Chun-feng laid down a restriction in his room. With a thought, he entered the universe realm and translated the ancient characters in the 30-fold flow of time. The ancient characters in the Wei clan's ancient books were profound and cryptic. They were extremely difficult to comprehend, but the God-Eater brain refined by Tai was all-encompassing. Under the God-Eater brain's deduction and comprehension, Yi Chun-feng translated one ancient character after another. 30 days in the outside world, 900 days in the 5th level of the universe realm. In these 3 years, Yi Chun-feng not only translated the entire ancient book, but also used the remaining time to completely memorize it. The 3,000 Transforming God Fist. This ancient book is just as I guessed. It's a supreme divine ability. After spending more than 2 years to engrave the 3,000 Transforming God Fist into the God-Eater brain, Yi Chun-feng was deeply shocked by this powerful divine ability. Powerful, this supreme divine ability is too powerful. The 3,000 Transforming God Fist. One fist turned into 1,000 intents. When the fist blasted out, it was as if 3,000 gods were attacking at the same time. The terrifying power of 3,000 fists was enough to destroy the world and destroy everything. I didn't expect to have such a harvest when I just came to the Void God world. Yi Chun-feng revealed a satisfied smile. With a thought, he left the universe realm and returned to his room. He broke the restriction and walked out. Young Master Yi, did you translate the ancient book? Just as Yi Chun-feng walked out of the room, Wei Shirtong and the others who were patiently waiting felt it. They immediately rushed over and asked expectantly. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. I translated the ancient book. Old Wei, please take a look. Yi Chunfeng handed the translated ancient book to the excited Wei Shitong. After receiving the ancient book, Wei Shitong immediately released a powerful soul force into the ancient book and quickly browsed through it. Supreme divine ability. This ancient book is truly a supreme divine ability. Looking at the ancient book translated by Yi Chunfeng, Wei Shitong fell into deep excitement. Moreover, with his eyesight, he didn't find any problem when he browsed through the cultivation chant. He bowed deeply towards Yi Chunfeng. Young Master Ye's great kindness. My Wei family is endlessly grateful. If there is anything you need in the future, my Wei family will not refuse. Old Wei is too polite. Yi Chunfeng faintly smiled and gently helped Wei Shitong up. Young Master Yi, these are the 3 great ancient treasures that I promised you. Please accept them. Wei Shitong took out 3 great ancient treasures and gave them to Yi Chunfeng. All right, Old Wei, you guys slowly comprehend them. I will take my leave first. Yi Chunfeng received the 3 great treasures and prepared to leave. Young Master Yi, this old man has a presumptuous request. I hope young master can agree. Wei Shitong called out to Yi Chunfeng. Old Wei, please say it. Yi Chunfeng said, this ancient book is very important to my Wei family. I hope young master can keep this a secret for my Wei family. Wei Shitong requested. Don't worry, Old Wei, I will not tell anyone. Yi Chunfeng nodded and guaranteed. Many thanks, young Master Yi. Wei Shitong felt relieved after receiving Yi Chunfeng's guarantee. Help me send young Master Yi off. Yes, grandfather. Wei Xinyue, who was dressed in a long white dress and had an elegant temperament, nodded and personally sent Yi Chunfeng out of the Wei clan residence. Young Master Yi, grandfather has already warned second uncle's family. They won't cause trouble for you in the future. When Wei Xinyue saw Yi Chunfeng off, she looked at his chiseled face and said softly, I hope so. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said indifferently, All right, Xinyue, send me off here. I am leaving. Chapter 1793. Damn girl, where do you think you're going? As Yi Chunfeng walked towards his rented courtyard, an angry roar suddenly rang out from the noisy street. 6 ferocious-looking men with ferocious wolf heads tattooed on their arms rudely pushed away the pedestrians on the street and chased after a little girl who was wearing tattered clothes. Her face was dirty and her expression was flustered. Yi Chunfeng originally didn't want to meddle in other people's business, but when he saw the little girl running over in panic, his brows twitched as he sensed a trace of abnormality. He immediately sent the God-Eater brain over. What kind of constitution is this? When his powerful soul power seeped into the little girl's body, Yi Chunfeng discovered that her body was in chaos. The God-Eater brain couldn't sense her constitution, let alone her true state. This made Yi Chunfeng very surprised. Don't be afraid, come here. Yi Chunfeng called out softly as he waved his hand at the mysterious young lady who was running closer and closer to him. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's call, the panicked little girl hesitated for a moment before running to Yi Chunfeng's side and hiding behind him. She tightly grabbed onto his arm and sought protection. Damn girl, let's see where you're going to run now. The 6 fiendish men surrounded Yi Chunfeng and Yi Chunfeng. One of them reached out his hairy hand and grabbed at the little girl. Pa! The crisp sound of slap rang out. The big man who grabbed at the mysterious little girl was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's slap. He drew a beautiful arc in the air before falling heavily to the ground. A large amount of blood sprayed out from his mouth. Damn it, you dare to hit someone from our Black Wolf gang? You must have eaten a bear's heart or a leopard's guts. The 5 fiendish men were enraged when they saw their companion sent flying by Yi Chunfeng. They summoned their top-grade True Saint artifacts and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Bang, bang, bang. As the 5 supreme-grade True Spirit Saint weapons approached, Yi Chunfeng immediately threw out a punch. A force of over 200 billion Jin exploded like a meteor as it landed on the 5 supreme-grade True Spirit Saint weapons. Ka-ka-ka. A series of criss-cracking sounds rang out. Under the attack of Yi Chunfeng's fist, the 5-top grade true saint artifact shattered. The entire space trembled under Yi Chunfeng's fist. I'll count to 3. Whoever doesn't scram will be killed. After shattering the 5 supreme grade true spirit saint weapons with a single punch, Yi Chunfeng's sharp eyes swept across the 5 ferocious men, whose faces had changed drastically and their hearts were trembling. He warned them coldly, "Let's go." Sensing the murderous intent in Yi Chunfeng's eyes, the 5 ferocious men became timid. They did not dare to stay any longer. They brought their severely injured companions and fled in a sorry state. "All right, don't be afraid." After driving away the 6 fiendish men, Yi Chunfeng cast his eyes to the dirty little girl and asked, "What's your name? Do you have a family?" "I don't have a name, and I don't have a family." The mysterious little girl blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng, shaking her head. "Are you willing to follow me?" Looking at the little girl in front of him, Yi Chunfeng suddenly felt as if she was shrouded in a fog that even he couldn't see through. Suddenly, he felt that this little girl was not simple and asked softly, "If you can give me something to eat and not let me starve, I'll follow you." The little girl said, "No problem. As long as you follow me, even if you want to eat ancestor beast meat, I'll get it for you." Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "I don't like to eat meat. I only like to eat Saint Crystals. The higher the grade of Saint Crystals, the more I like them." The little girl shook her head and said, "You eat Saint Crystals?" Yi Chunfeng was slightly taken aback. This was the first time he had seen someone eat Saint Crystals. One had to know that Saint Crystals were extremely hard. The hardness of a high-rank Saint Crystal exceeded that of an ordinary divine artifact, and the hardness of a top-rank Saint Crystal was almost equivalent to that of a top-ranked divine artifact. Big brother, can you give me some Saint Crystals to eat?" The little girl nodded her small head and asked. "All right." Yi Chunfeng nodded, took out a high-rank Saint Crystal, and handed it to the little girl. Looking at the egg-sized high-rank Saint Crystal in Yi Chunfeng's hand, the little girl's eyes immediately curved in a crescent as she snatched the Saint Crystal, opened her mouth, and bit down on most of it. She can really eat Saint Crystals? Looking at the extremely hard high-rank Saint Crystal that was comparable to a low-rank divine artifact and tasted like sweet bread in the little girl's mouth, Yi Chunfeng felt more and more that this little girl was extremely unusual. There was definitely a great secret hidden in her body. "Big brother, do you have any more?" After eating the high-rank Saint Crystal, the little girl asked as if she still hadn't had enough. "Yes, Big brother has plenty of Saint Crystals here. You can eat as much as you want." Yi Chunfeng said generously as he took out 5 top-rank Saint Crystals and handed them to the little girl. "Thank you, big brother. I'll be by your side from now on." The little girl took the top-rank Saint Crystals that contained even purer and tougher energy, and she ate them with relish while a happy smile appeared on her face. "I'll call you Amo from now on." Yi Chunfeng looked at the pure little girl and spoke softly. "All right." The little girl nodded and spoke obediently. She seemed to trust Yi Chunfeng very much as she followed him to the ancient courtyard. As they walked, Yi Chunfeng frowned tightly. His formidable soul force noticed that the 6 ferocious men that he'd just scared away had appeared again. Moreover, there were 4 people following them, and one of them was at the peak of the 6-star Dao Lord realm. "Leader, it was that kid who injured me and rescued that damnable little girl." The ferocious man's group stopped Yi Chunfeng and the little girl on a deserted street, and they spoke with ferocious expressions. "Who are you? Why are you meddling in our business and going against my Black Wolf gang?" A tall man who wore a black robe, had 2 multicolored wolf heads tattooed on his arms, and emanated a gloomy aura spoke in a low voice. "Fuck off if you don't want to die." Yi Chunfeng gazed at the black-robed man, who was a 6-star Dao Lord, as he spoke coldly. "Damn it! How audacious of you! You actually dared to insult the leader of my Black Wolf gang. Let me see if you—" He hadn't finished speaking when the ferocious man who'd insulted Yi Chunfeng had his head pierced through by Yi Chunfeng's finger, and then his soul was minced into pieces before he fell into a pool of blood and perished. "Who exactly are you?" The black-robed man's expression changed slightly when he sensed the might of Yi Chunfeng's finger, and he spoke with a solemn expression. All of you aren't qualified to know who I am. Yi Chenfeng spoke arrogantly. If your Black Wolf gang doesn't want to vanish from Aeon City, then fuck off as far as you can. What high-sounding sentiments. Do you know who's backing my Black Wolf gang? Even though Yi Chenfeng's strength was extraordinary, the black-robed man wasn't afraid, and he spoke angrily. Who? Yi Chenfeng smiled as he spoke. We're from the Wei clan, and the second master of the Wei clan is our master. The black-robed man spoke arrogantly. The second master of the Wei clan? Wei Penghong? Yi Chenfeng started laughing. He'd never expected that after Wei Shitong had just warned Wei Penghong and his son, their people would offend him. Exactly. Hand that damnable little girl over to us if you're sensible. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer the consequences. The black-robed man spoke arrogantly. Ask Wei Penghong to come here and see if he can do anything to me. Yi Chenfeng spoke with a smile on his face. F***CK. Who do you think you are? You want to see the second master of the Wei clan? Another ferocious-looking man cursed. Bang! As soon as his voice faded, Yi Chenfeng pointed his finger again and crushed his head, killing him instantly. You, the black-robed man, didn't expect Yi Chenfeng to be so bold as to kill without a word. Beads of sweat immediately appeared on his forehead. My patience is limited. Either you ask Wei Penghong to come and save you, or you can all die for me. Yi Chenfeng's aura instantly became fierce. Blood and bones intertwined with killing intent unreservedly spread out from his body and blasted into the black-robed man's body. It made them feel as if they were facing the Grim Reaper, and their inner defenses were completely destroyed. You wait. When the second master of the Wei clan, young Master Wei, comes, you'll be in for a good show. Chapter 1794. Let's go. We'll find a place to wait for Wei Hung Yi. Yi Chenfeng spat out a mouthful of true spirit sacred flame, melting the two corpses lying in a pool of blood. He then held Mo.'s little hand and continued forward. Master, this person is a bit strange. Why don't we run? One of the Black Wolf gang's experts became timid when he saw Yi Chenfeng's proud back. Run. The remorseful black-robed man wanted to run away, but Yi Chenfeng's ruthless methods of killing two people in a row had deeply shocked him. He had a feeling that if he dared to run, Yi Chenfeng would most likely kill him. Sigh. Now we can only place our hopes on young Master Wei. After hesitating for a while, the black-robed man gave up the idea of running away. He led his subordinates and obediently followed Yi Chenfeng to an open-air tea house, where they waited for Wei Hung Yi and the others to arrive. Emor, are you full? Yi Chenfeng took a sip of spirit tea and looked at Emor, whose face was dirty but still cute, and asked softly. No. Emor shook her little head and said embarrassedly, Here, this universe ring is for you. There are 100,000 high-rank Saint Crystals and 1,000 top-rank Saint Crystals inside. Ask me for more when you're done. Yi Chenfeng was not stingy and gave a dark gold universe ring to Emor. Thank you, big brother. Emor, whose eyes were curved into small crescents, said happily. She took out a finger-sized high-rank Saint Crystal from the universe ring and threw it into her mouth like she was eating candy. She then ate it with relish. Eat Saint Crystals. The black-robed man and the others, who were sitting uneasily, saw the scene of him eating Saint Crystals, and their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Wei Hung Yi is finally here. After waiting for a while, Yi Chenfeng's powerful soul force sensed Wei Hung Yi's aura and showed a faint smile. Wei, young Master Wei, you're finally here. Seeing Wei Hung Yi appear with two Wei clan experts, the restless black-robed man let out a long sigh of relief. He quickly stood up and walked over to greet them. Mother of Asterisker, which blind fool wants to destroy the Black Wolf gang? Wei Hung Yi, the prodigal progenitor, cursed. It's him. The black-robed man pointed at Yi Chenfeng, who was sitting with his back to them, and said softly, Trash, a brat who's still wet behind the ears, scared you like this. What's the use of raising you? Wei Hung Yi reprimanded loudly. Follow me. Watch me take revenge for you. As he spoke, Wei Hung Yi walked over aggressively. Wei Hung Yi, are you sure you want to avenge them? Yi Chenfeng slowly turned around and looked at the overbearing Wei Hongyi as he said indifferently, "You, how could it be you?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng's familiar face, Wei Hongyi's arrogance disappeared, and he was dumbfounded. When Yi Chunfeng broke his legs, he was so angry that he wanted to take revenge. However, a few days later, Wei Shitong warned him and his son not to provoke Yi Chunfeng, so he had no choice but to swallow his anger. However, he didn't expect that the Black Wolf Gang would be so blind as to provoke Yi Chunfeng. This put him between a rock and a hard place. "Why not me?" Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, "Wei Hongyi, I didn't expect you and your son to control an underground force. I find that you two are quite free." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's ridicule, Wei Hongyi's face turned black. However, Yi Chunfeng's strength was too terrifying. Wei Hongyi was afraid that he would break his legs again if he didn't agree, so he didn't dare to say anything. "Young Master Wei, you know him?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng ridicule Wei Hongyi in front of everyone, but not daring to retort, the black-robed man and the others felt the seriousness of the situation and asked softly. Slap. A crisp sound of a slap was heard. Wei Hongyi didn't dare to behave atrociously in front of Yi Chunfeng, so he could only vent his anger on the black-robed man. "Damn it! Who gave you the guts to provoke young Master Yi? Why aren't you apologizing to him?" Yes. The black-robed man didn't dare to disobey Wei Hongyi's order. He lowered his head and was about to apologize. "There's no need to apologize." Yi Chunfeng waved his hand and said, "I'll give Elder Wei face and let it go this time. If you or your people provoke me again, even the heavens won't be able to save you. Emoa, let's go." With that, Yi Chunfeng left the money for the tea and left holding Emo'er's little hand under Wei Hongyi's gloomy gaze. "Damn it, don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you have the old man's support. Sooner or later, I'll make you kneel on the ground like a dog and beg for mercy." Yi Chunfeng's warning echoed in Wei Hongyi's ears. He gritted his teeth and swore in his heart. Wei Penghong, Wei Hongyi, could there be a problem with these two? Thinking that only a trusted person would have the chance to plant the demonic goo on Wei Shitong, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but suspect Wei Penghong and his son who lived outside. However, he didn't want to meddle too much in other people's business and didn't investigate too deeply. After returning to the old courtyard, he cleaned up Emo'er's body and brought her to the picturesque universe realm. "Big brother, what is this place? I love it here," Emo said excitedly as she looked at the picturesque scenery in front of her. "This is my space cave abode. Emo'er, how about you live here from now on?" Yi Chunfeng looked at the clean and beautiful Emo'er and said softly, "Okay." Emo revealed an adorable smile. She was like a dancing butterfly as she happily ran around the universe realm. "Sorry, Senior, I've disturbed you." After settling Emo'er down, Yi Chunfeng found Shun Daoshu, who had refined the life origin spirit pearl and healed his old injuries. "Senior, I met a mysterious little girl outside. I wonder if Senior can see her origins and constitution." "Okay, let me see." Shun Daoshu slowly opened his eyes and released a powerful soul force to lock onto him, peering into her body. "Artifact spirit." After peeking, Shun Daoshu said with some surprise, "Chunfeng, if I'm not wrong, the little girl you brought should be an artifact spirit." "Artifact spirit?" Yi Chunfeng frowned slightly and asked in confusion, "But if she's an artifact spirit, why can't I see it?" "Because she's not an ordinary artifact spirit. She's the artifact spirit of a void god artifact." Shun Daoshu pondered for a moment and said in a shocking manner, "An artifact spirit of a void god artifact." Yi Chunfeng sucked in a breath of cold air. Although a top-grade ancestral artifact was invincible, it wasn't the pinnacle treasure of the void god world. There was another existence that was above top-grade ancestral artifacts, and that was the legendary void god artifacts. However, there were only a few void god artifacts in the entire void god world, and they were all in the hands of various races. He had never heard of any void god artifacts being circulated outside. "Senior, are you sure you're not wrong? If she's really an artifact spirit of a void god artifact, then isn't she too weak?" Yi Chunfeng said with some doubt. "My intuition can't be wrong. Only an artifact spirit of a void god artifact would have a chaotic interior. However, there should be some problems with her body right now, Shin Daoshu said without a doubt. Chengfeng, I'm really envious of your luck to actually encounter an artifact spirit of a void god artifact. Perhaps when you unravel her secret, you'll have a chance to obtain a void god artifact through her. Senior, if MO really is an artifact spirit of a void god artifact, and she appeared in Aeon City, do you think that void god artifact is near Aeon City? Yi Chenfeng made a bold guess. That's very possible. Shin Daoshu nodded. Chapter 1795. I wonder what these 3 ancient treasures are. After leaving the place where the divine Dao Empyrean was healing, Yi Chenfeng found a deserted area and took out the 3 treasures he obtained from the Wei clan. This withered tree should be an old branch of the divine tree of time. When Wei Shidong took out the 3 treasures, the powerful God-Eater brain immediately sensed that this seemingly withered ancient tree was an old branch of the divine tree of time. As for the other 2 treasures, he wasn't sure. However, he had a feeling that these 3 ancient treasures of the Wei clan were extraordinary and would be very useful to him. God-Eater brain, break the seal. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce. He released a powerful soul force into the old branch of the divine tree of time. After his tireless efforts, he broke the seal on the old branch and penetrated into its depths. This old branch of the divine tree of time actually contains the second transformation of the laws of time. After comprehending the mysteries of time contained within the old branch of the divine tree of time, Yi Chenfeng revealed a look of pleasant surprise. The laws of time were divided into 3 major transformations: time acceleration, time deceleration, and time stop. Among them, time stop was the most profound. Only the heart of the divine tree of time could give birth to such mysteries. The second was the strange time deceleration. If he could comprehend the time deceleration, his attacks would become unpredictable. Ordinary people would find it difficult to dodge Yi Chenfeng's attacks. What is this tortoise shell? Yi Chenfeng suppressed the excitement in his heart and cast his gaze on the tortoise shell engraved with ancient characters. Ancient characters again. Moreover, these ancient characters are even more ancient than the ones in the Wei clan's ancient books. Although there weren't many ancient characters on the tortoise shell, the God-Eater brain discovered that these ancient characters were even more ancient. It wasn't easy to comprehend the mysteries of each character. Fortunately, Yi Chenfeng had plenty of time in the 30x time flow. He eliminated all distracting thoughts and controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the secrets of each ancient character. Why? Why does the profound meaning of the ancient characters carved on the tortoise shell resemble the Tao of equipment manipulation that I have comprehended? Yi Chenfeng had comprehended the mysteries of the ancient characters for more than 300 days in a 30 times faster flow of time. He revealed a look of surprise as he had a feeling that the ancient characters carved on the tortoise shell were most likely the Tao of artifact manipulation. Moreover, they were even more profound than what he had comprehended earlier. With this discovery, Yi Chenfeng was wild with joy. He realized that his harvest from the Wei clan was too great. Not to mention the preciousness of the supreme ability 30 million divine fist. Just the value of the time divine tree branch alone, which was suspected to be an upgraded version of the Wei of equipment manipulation, was immeasurable. After patiently studying for another 300 days, the God-Eater brain finally figured out the meaning of every ancient character on the tortoise shell. Just as Yi Chenfeng had guessed, the ancient characters on the tortoise shell were an upgraded version of the Wei of equipment manipulation. Once used, it would allow the user to perfectly fuse with the artifact, allowing the user to display even greater power. After unraveling the secrets of the tortoise shell, Yi Chenfeng was not in a hurry to comprehend them. Instead, he turned his gaze to the third ancient object, a pitch-black crystal without the slightest luster. How hard? This crystal is probably even harder than a top-grade Transcendent Saint artifact. Yi Chenfeng picked up the black crystal and carefully studied it for a while. He discovered that the crystal was incomparably hard. Normal treasures would not be able to break it. However, Yi Chen-feng possessed a large number of ancestral artifacts. With a thought, he summoned the top-grade ancestral artifact, the Death Scythe. He poured a vast amount of golden soul force into the Death Scythe and slashed at the black crystal. Ka. Although the black crystal was tough, it could not block the Death Scythe's attack. Under the attack of the Death Scythe, a large number of cracks appeared on the surface of the crystal. A powerful bloodline energy slowly seeped out from the crystal. What bloodline is this? The smile on Yi Chen-feng's face deepened when he sensed the extremely pure and powerful bloodline within the black crystal. Ancestral God's blood. The purest ancestral God's blood. Just as Yi Chen-feng was about to study the mysterious blood in the black crystal and unravel its secrets, Shun Daoxiu, who had refined the life origin spirit bead, suddenly appeared. Rays of light shot out from his turbid eyes. "Senior, you're saying this is ancestral God's blood?" Yi Chen-feng said with some surprise. "That's right. This is the blood of a peak almighty of my god race." Shun Daoxiu nodded and said, "Chen-feng, where did you find this drop of essence blood?" "I obtained it from the Wei clan," Yi Chen-feng said truthfully. "Chen-feng, if you have the chance, help me ask the Wei clan where they obtained this black crystal. I have a feeling that the almighty of the god race who left behind this drop of essence blood is still alive. I have to save him," Shun Daoxiu said. "All right, I'll go ask the Wei clan now." Yi Chen-feng did not waste any time. He left the universe realm and went straight to the Wei clan. Knowing that Yi Chen-feng had arrived, Wei Shitong, who had been cultivating the 30 million divine fist in seclusion, immediately came out and went to the main hall to receive Yi Chen-feng. "I'm sorry, Elder Wei. I've disturbed your cultivation." Yi Chen-feng put down the teacup in his hand and slowly stood up as he looked at Wei Shitong, who was wearing a white martial arts suit. He was in high spirits and had completely recovered from his injuries. "It's fine." Wei Shitong sat beside Yi Chen-feng and said, "Why have you come today, young Master Yi?" "Elder Wei, I won't beat around the bush with you. I want to know where the ancient black crystal you gave me was passed down to?" Yi Chen-feng asked. "So young Master Yi is here for that crystal?" Wei Shitong said, "All right, young Master Yi has done my Wei clan a favor. I'll tell you the origin of that crystal. That crystal was obtained by me from the ancient god ruins 30,000 years ago." Wei Shitong said, "Ancient god ruins? Where is that?" Yi Chen-feng continued to ask. This was the first time he had heard of the ancient god ruins. The ancient god ruins is the biggest secret of Aeon City. It is sealed in a mysterious space under Aeon City. The key to enter is controlled by the 4 major clans and the Aeon City Lord. According to the orders passed down from the ancestors, the ancient god ruins is only opened once every 100 years. Wei Shitong hesitated for a moment, but still told Yi Chen-feng the legend of the ancient god ruins in detail. Ancient god ruins. Did Imo come from there too? Hearing Wei Shitong's story, a thought flashed through Yi Chen-feng's mind, and he became interested in the ancient god ruins. "Elder Wei, I wonder who left behind the inheritance of the ancient god ruins?" Yi Chen-feng pondered for a moment and asked. "I don't know. Although the ancient god ruins is jointly managed by us, countless years have passed, and no clan has been able to unlock the secret of the ancient god ruins." Wei Shitong shook his head. "In that case, the ancient god ruins is very dangerous." Yi Chen-feng said, "It is very dangerous. Back then, the ancient clan also had a strong interest in the ancient god ruins. However, several ancestor realm experts of the ancient clan relied on their powerful strength to enter the depths of the ancient god ruins, but all of them died. Over time, the depths of the ancient god ruins became a forbidden area. After so many years, we still dare not enter." Wei Shitong said solemnly, "Elder Wei, how many years until the ancient god ruins opens again?" Yi Chen-feng asked. "More than 50 years," Wei Shitong said. Chapter 1796. Young Master Yi, are you interested in the ancient divine ruins? Wei Shitong asked, looking at Yi Chen-feng, who was deep in thought. "I am indeed very interested." Yi Chen-feng nodded. "Old Wei, Is there any way to enter the ancient divine ruins in advance? Unless you can obtain the 5 keys, even a peak ancestor realm expert can't open the ancient divine ruins, Wei Shirtong said. All right, old Wei, I won't disturb your cultivation. I'm leaving. Since he couldn't enter the ancient divine ruins in advance, Yi Chenfeng could only think of other methods. Just as he was about to leave, Wei Shirtong called out to him, Young Master Yi, in a few days there will be a grave auction outside Aeon City. I wonder if you are interested? Grave auction? Yi Chenfeng raised his brows, showing a trace of interest in the grave auction. If you are interested in the grave auction, I will have you or accompany you. Wei Shirtong nodded. Okay, when the time comes, have Xin Yue come to my residence to find me. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng left the Wei clan's old mansion and returned to the ancient courtyard. He entered the universe realm and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce. He began to understand the divine tree of time's old branch, the way of controlling artifacts, and the supreme ability, the 3,000 God-transforming fist. Days passed, and soon, 3 days had passed in the outside world. Just as Yi Chenfeng was immersed in comprehending the 2 ancient treasures and cultivating the 3,000 transformation God fist, the remnant soul he left outside sensed Wei Xinyue's aura. With a thought, it left the universe realm and appeared outside. Xinyue, has the grave auction begun? Yi Chenfeng asked softly as he looked at Wei Xinyue, who was bathed in the light of dawn, looking otherworldly and natural. The grave auction will begin at noon today. Let's go. Wei Xinyue nodded and led Yi Chenfeng out of Aeon City, arriving at a gloomy mass grave outside. The tomb that was about to open was located in the deepest part of the mass grave. And who is that kid? Many people were surprised to see Yi Chenfeng, who was wearing a white robe and chatting with Wei Xinyue. I've never seen him before. I wonder where this gigolo came from. He actually managed to seduce the princess of the Wei clan. I think that guy is really tired of living. He dares to hook up with the woman that Li Hongshu likes. I wonder if Li Hongshu will kill them when he comes and sees them flirting with each other. Today's grave auction will be interesting. Let's go. Let's hurry up and catch up. I reckon there will be a good show to watch in a while. As they spoke, many people followed behind Yi Chenfeng, hoping to watch a good show. They arrived at the deepest part of the mass graves. Such dense inchi. The deeper he went into the mass grave, the more Yi Chenfeng felt that the inchi in the air was getting thicker and thicker. Especially when he came to an ancient tomb that had already been excavated, he felt that the inchi could corrode his marrow. At this moment, 3 burly men in black robes with tools in their hands were working hard to dig the grave. They slowly dug into the depths of the ancient grave. This aura. Yi Chenfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to rapidly deduce and penetrate into the depths of the ancient grave. As he forcefully penetrated through a powerful seal, he felt a familiar aura appear in the depths of the ancient grave, causing his eyes to light up. The blood of the ancestor god. How can this ancient grave have the aura of the ancestor god's blood? Could this be the tomb of a mighty god? After repeated probing, Yi Chenfeng determined that the familiar aura in the ancient grave was the same as that of the drop of blood of the ancestor god. This meant that this ancient grave was likely to contain the blood of the ancestor god, or the person buried here was a mighty god of the ancestor god realm. Interesting, I didn't expect to find the tomb of a mighty god. It seems that this Aeon City hides many secrets. Yi Chenfeng muttered to himself, I wonder if the legendary primeval god ruins are related to the god race. As time passed, more and more people came to participate in the grave auction. However, almost all of these people were juniors of Aeon City. None of the patriarch-level figures had appeared. I didn't expect you to come too. As Yi Chenfeng and Wei Xinyue stood to the side, chatting and patiently waiting, a feminine voice suddenly sounded out. A man wearing a black robe with several ferocious skulls embroidered on it. His long black hair draped over his shoulders, his square face, his eyes sunken into his cheeks, and a black beard around his mouth, giving off a ferocious feeling, slowly walked over with the accompaniment of 4 attendants. Looking at this black-clothed man, The smile on Wei Xinyue's face suddenly disappeared. Her eyes revealed a trace of disgust as she ignored him. Who is he? Seeing Wei Xinyue ignore him, the black-clothed man was not angry. Instead, he cast his gaze on Yi Qinfeng and spoke with ill intentions. Sir Yi, let's ignore him. Let's go over there and talk. Wei Xinyue gently pulled on Yi Qinfeng's hand and was about to walk away. Seeing Wei Xinyue take the initiative to pull on Yi Qinfeng's hand, the black-clothed man's face sank. His eyes revealed a sinister look. As the top playboy of Aeon City, he would never allow the woman he fancied to have intimate relations with other men. Xinyue, I don't care who he is. You are the woman I fancied. No one else is allowed to touch you. If anyone dares to touch you, I will break their neck. The black-clothed man said domineeringly. Li Hongxiu, don't ruin my reputation. I have nothing to do with you. Who I like and who I like to be with is none of your business. Wei Xinyue's face sank as she said angrily. None of my business. Li Hongxiu, the eldest son of the Li family, one of the 4 major families of Aeon City, laughed and said arrogantly, Wait until I kill him. Then you will know if I can control you. Kill me? Are you sure? Although Li Hongxiu's talent was extraordinary and he had cultivated to the 5-star Demon Lord realm at such a young age, in front of Yi Qinfeng, this level of master was no different from a fly. He could kill him with a wave of his hand. Feeling Li Hongxiu's killing intent towards him, Yi Qinfeng revealed a cold smile. Oh, a tough bone. I like it. Li Hongxiu's mouth cracked open, revealing a cruel smile. His body flashed, leaving behind an afterimage in the air as he suddenly launched an attack at Yi Qinfeng. AI, what a pitiful boy. He actually provoked that madman Li Hongxiu. Even if he doesn't die, he will lose a layer of skin. There's nothing he can do about it. Who told him to be so close to the Wei family's princess? Doesn't he know that the Wei family's princess is Li Hongxiu's wife? Whoever dares to touch her will be his mortal enemy. Just when everyone was not optimistic about Yi Qinfeng's chances and thought that he would suffer under Li Hongxiu's evil hands, a loud sound suddenly echoed from the depths of mass grave. Yi Qinfeng's foot trampled the universe, breaking Li Hongxiu's attack and kicking him in the chest. Puff! A mouthful of blood sprayed out from Li Hongxiu's mouth. He was like a kite with its string cut as he was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's kick. He tumbled several times in the air and heavily fell several hundred meters away, creating a large crater in the ground. What? Witnessing the scene of Li Hongxiu being sent flying by a single kick from Yi Qinfeng, everyone present let out cries of disbelief. Pairs of dumbfounded gazes were uniformly directed at Yi Qinfeng. Chapter 1797. Young Master. Seeing Yi Qinfeng send Li Hongxiu flying with a kick, his 4 followers were instantly enraged. For shocking auras burst out and locked onto Yi Qinfeng. They were about to teach him a lesson and break his limbs to avenge Li Hongxiu. Crack! Crack! The crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. Yi Qinfeng was even faster. He burst out with a strength of more than 200 billion jin and smashed the 4 people's attacks as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. He threw a punch at them. Yi Qinfeng punched out, causing the space to tremble. Accompanied by the bone-shattering sound, the 4 of them were sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's punch, flying several thousand meters away. They did not manage to get up for a long time. Silence. Absolute silence. The experts who came to participate in the grave auction looked at Yi Qinfeng as if they were looking at a monster. They were deeply shocked by his strength. Could he be a divine grade expert? But he's too young. I've never seen such a young divine grade expert. Looking at Yi Qinfeng, who was like a killing god, the experts of the various forces whispered to each other. So what if he's a divine grade expert? He humiliated the Li clan like this. With the Li clan's character, they will definitely not let it go. If the Li clan is ruthless, perhaps only the Sima clan can suppress them. Sigh. He's really angry for beauty, but it's not wise to offend the Li clan for a woman. He will probably pay for his recklessness with his life. Although Yi Qinfeng's strength was very shocking, more people were not optimistic about him. They felt that he would definitely suffer the Li clan's bloody revenge. Death was only a matter of time. Damn it, I'll kill you. As the first young master of the Li clan, Li Hongxiu had never suffered such humiliation before. With a furious roar, he summoned a ferocious skull embedded with 3 large gems, which was a lower-grade, transcendent saint artifact. It whistled as it attacked Yi Chenfeng. Woo woo woo. When the skull attacked, the entire space was immediately dyed red. Terrifying ghostly chi spewed out of the skull's mouth, trying to corrode Yi Chenfeng's body. Humph! You want to hurt me with a mere lower-grade, transcendent saint artifact? Yi Chenfeng coldly snorted and grabbed at the air. A terrifying Dao will gathered in his palm and turned into a gigantic hand that blotted out the sky. It carried a force of more than 200 billion pounds as it shattered the bloody mist and grabbed the skull that was emitting a ghostly cry. Kacha! A crisp cracking sound was heard. The skulls summoned by Li Hongxiu, which were lower-grade divine artifacts, were crushed into pieces by Yi Chenfeng's sky-covering giant hand. They were scattered all over the mass grave. Goo! Transform into a giant hand that covers the sky and crush the skull. What realm is this guy in? Too scary. This person's strength is too scary. I was wondering why he dared to beat up the Li clan's eldest young master in public. I didn't expect him to have such terrifying strength. Rumble. Just as everyone was once again shocked by Yi Chenfeng's terrifying strength, Yi Chenfeng gently pointed his finger. An invincible finger radiance shot out, entwined with powerful Dao will. It pierced through the air and flew toward Li Hongxiu at a speed that was dozens of times faster than the flow of time. Puff! Li Hongxiu, who couldn't dodge in time, was hit by Yi Chenfeng's finger. His chest was directly pierced through, and he was sent flying again. If it weren't for the powerful protective amulet around his neck that neutralized most of the finger radiance, Yi Chenfeng's finger sword would have pierced through his chest and crippled him. Young master, this person is too strong. He seems to be a divine-level expert. We are no match for him. Let's leave this place first. 4 severely injured experts of the Li clan quickly came to Li Hongxiu, who was severely injured and spitting blood. They helped him up and quickly left with him, who was unwilling to leave. There shouldn't be any annoying flies bothering us now, right? Yi Chenfeng looked at the backs of Li Hongxiu and the others as they left. He didn't kill them, but stood beside Wei Xinyue, whose eyes were shining, and said calmly, "Awesome, this guy is really awesome. Yeah, but I really want to know if he can live past tomorrow. It's hard to say. I feel that this guy obviously doesn't take the Li clan seriously. Maybe he's a direct disciple of a big clan who came out to gain experience. Maybe Li Hongxiu kicked an iron plate this time." Just as Yi Chenfeng drove Li Hongxiu and the others away in a domineering manner, the scorching sun hung high in the sky, and a trace of warmth appeared in the dark mass grave. "All right, open the ancient tomb now." A middle-aged man with a slightly pale face and a short stature, who was dressed in a black martial arts suit, glanced at the unknown Yi Chenfeng from the corner of his eye and ordered loudly. Hearing the man's order, more than 10 burly men, who were already prepared, immediately threw sharp iron claws into the bottomless tomb. They grabbed an ancient coffin in the depths of the tomb that was entangled with iron chains, and slowly pulled the ancient coffin, which weighed hundreds of millions of pounds, out of the dark tomb. This aura, the blood of the ancestor god, is emitted from this ancient coffin. Looking at the ancient coffin, which weighed hundreds of millions of pounds and was completely black and sealed with a powerful restriction formation, Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up. He had a strong interest in this ancient coffin. In addition to this mysterious ancient coffin, many other burial objects were unearthed. About an hour later, all the burial objects in the ancient tomb were placed outside. However, this ancient coffin had existed for too long, and many of the burial objects were already damaged and had lost their value. All right, let's start the grave auction now. Although many of the burial objects were damaged and useless, they would still be auctioned. This was because there were many people who had picked up scraps from the useless burial objects and obtained earth-shattering treasures. Yi Chenfeng swept his gaze over the burial objects and discovered a crystal the size of an egg wrapped in a thick layer of soil. This crystal seemed to be a protective talisman with decent defensive power. However, because it had been corroded by the yin qi for too long, it would need to be refined repeatedly in order to unleash the true defensive power of this protective talisman. Young Master Yi, these burial objects, do you like any of them? Wei Xinyue stood beside Yi Chenfeng and asked softly. No, these burial objects are not very valuable. Yi Chenfeng shook his head and said. His standards were extremely high. Even the amulet was not worthy of his attention. Is that so? Then I won't bid. Wei Xinyue seemed to believe in Yi Chenfeng and did not join the bidding. However, there were still many masters from great forces who showed a strong interest in these burial objects and made bids. About an hour later, the dozens of burial objects were all auctioned off. All right, now it's time for the final auction of the main coffin. Is there anyone who wants to bid for the main coffin? A thin man in black robes asked loudly. How much do you want to sell this main coffin for? Yi Chenfeng, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke. The starting price is 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. The man in black robes glanced at Yi Chenfeng, who had just taught Li Hongshu a lesson, and said slowly, All right, I bid 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said in a rich and overbearing manner, 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. Is this guy really a direct disciple of a great family who came out for life experience? Generally, the currency in circulation in Aeon City was only low-rank Saint crystals. Very few people were willing to take out mid-rank Saint crystals to buy things. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's generosity, many people gasped. 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. Is there anyone who wishes to increase the price? The man in black robes did not expect Yi Chenfeng to really bid and showed a hint of joy as he asked loudly. Good, since there's no one else, I announce that this main coffin is won by this young lord. Chapter 1798. Young Master Yi, what's so special about this ancient coffin? Is it worth you spending 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals on it? Wei Xinyue asked curiously. Based on her understanding of Yi Chenfeng, she felt that Yi Chenfeng would never spend money in vain. Yi Chenfeng was willing to spend such a large sum of money to buy the main coffin, so he must have his reasons. However, she did not know that 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals was a sky-high price for her, but it was nothing for Yi Chenfeng. The value of the Saint crystals that Yi Chenfeng had given to Mo alone was more than 100 million mid-rank Saint crystals. I don't know yet. I'll find out when I go back and study it. Yi Chenfeng shook his head and said vaguely. After returning to Aeon City, Yi Chenfeng immediately separated from Wei Xinyue and returned to his ancient courtyard. He opened the ancient courtyard's barrier and entered the universe mirror, ready to open it and study it. Seal break. With a thought, Yi Chenfeng's saint-grade sword soul flew out of his soul sea and slashed open the barrier on the surface of the ancient coffin, pushing open the heavy coffin lid. Immediately, an ancient aura spread out from the ancient coffin, spreading through the universe mirror. It alarmed Shun Daoxiu, who was recuperating in the universe mirror, as well as Mo, who was lying in a sea of flowers and eating high-rank Saint crystals with relish. Mummy, there's a mummy in the ancient coffin. Looking at the mummy in the ancient coffin, which was shriveled and looked like it could be weathered at any time, Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up. Although the mummy seemed worthless, Yi Chenfeng felt the aura of the ancestor god's blood in the mummy's body. He guessed that the mummy was most likely a god ancestor master when it was alive. Chenfeng, where did you find this mummy? Shun Daoxiu came to Yi Chenfeng's side and looked at the corpse in the ancient coffin, asking in surprise. I took part in the grave auction today and got it from a mass grave in Aeon City. Yi Chenfeng told him what had happened. If I'm not mistaken, this person is the same as me, from the divine race. He should have been an ancestral master when he was alive. Shun Daoxiu's turbid eyes shot out rays of light as he stared at the corpse in the coffin. As expected, this person is a mighty figure of the god race. Big brother, I think I've seen this person before. Just as Yi Chenfeng was about to tell Shun Daoxiu about the ancient god ruins, Mo, who was blinking her large eyes, suddenly spoke in a shocking voice. Mo, have you seen him before? Yi Qinfeng's eyes widened as he stared at Mo in shock. Even Shun Daoshu's turbid eyes shone with light. I don't remember clearly either. I just feel like I've seen him before. If I remember correctly, there should be a jade pendant on his neck and a sword hole at the back of his head. Mo tried her best to recall. As expected, there was a jade pendant on his neck. His cause of death should have been a sword piercing through the back of his head, heavily injuring his soul before he died. Yi Qinfeng quickly examined the corpse and found that it was just as Mo said. There was a dim jade pendant covered in cracks on his neck and a clear sword wound at the back of his head. Mo, think carefully. Where did you see him before? Yi Qinfeng felt more and more that Mo was unusual and softly asked. I think it was in an underground space. That space was extremely sinister, and there was an extremely terrifying fiend living there. In order to kill that fiend, many people seem to have died. In the end, I don't remember. As she spoke, Mo suddenly clutched her head. Her face turned pale, and she seemed to be in extreme pain. Mo, is that place you're talking about called the Ancient God Ruins? Yi Qinfeng continued to ask. He had a feeling that Mo might have come from there as well. Ancient God Ruins. I think so. I really don't remember. Mo tried her best to reply, but her mind was in a mess. She tried hard to recall, but could not find a clue. Qinfeng, what kind of place is this Ancient God Ruins? Shen Daoshu asked. The Ancient God Ruins is Aeon City's biggest secret. According to the Wei clan's old patriarch, the drop of ancestor god's blood came from there. I suspect that the Ancient God Ruins is related to the God clan. Yi Qinfeng said, if the ancestor god's blood really came from there, then there's a need to make a trip to the Ancient God Ruins. Shen Daoshu said, however, there's still more than 50 years before the Ancient God Ruins opens again, unless I can gather all the keys to open the Ancient God Ruins. Yi Qinfeng said, why? Is it difficult to gather all the keys to open the Ancient God Ruins? Shen Daoshu asked. It's not difficult. I'm prepared to find an excuse to snatch all the keys to open the Ancient God Ruins. Yi Qinfeng had too many things to do. He could not stay here for more than 50 years. He was prepared to snatch the 5 keys to open the Ancient God Ruins. If you run into any trouble, tell me. Although I have not recovered from my injuries, it's not difficult to take care of 1 or 2 5-star ancestor almighties. Shen Daoshu said domineeringly. He had developed a strong interest in the Ancient God Ruins. Senior, don't worry and heal your injuries. Leave everything to me. Yi Qinfeng smiled and said confidently, all right, give me this God Clan ancient corpse. I'll use the God Clan's secret technique to refine it. It might be useful for us to enter the Ancient God Ruins. Shen Daoshu said. All right. Yi Qinfeng nodded and handed the God Clan ancient corpse to Shen Daoshu. Sir, what happened to you? Who had the guts to beat you up like this? When the severely injured Li Hongshu was brought back to the Li clan by his 4 attendants, it caused a huge uproar in the Li clan. Li Daimeng, the current head of the Li clan and Li Hongshu's mother, was wearing a long black dress. She had light makeup on her face and exuded a gloomy aura. She looked at her son's miserable state, and her face became gloomy. I don't know the origin of the little bastard who beat me up, but he's very close to Wei Xinyue. He might be related to the Wei clan. Thinking of the shame that Yi Qinfeng brought to him, Li Hongshu gnashed his teeth in hatred and wanted to take revenge. No matter who it is, if he dares to beat you up and provoke the Li clan, I'll make sure he dies without a burial ground. Li Daimeng, who had always been protective, said coldly. Head of the Li clan, now that Wei Shitong's injuries have suddenly healed, it's not convenient for us to have a conflict with them. Li Yifeng, the second head of the Li clan and a 5-star demon god, said cautiously. What are you afraid of? Even if Wei Shitong recovers to his peak strength, the Wei clan will always be inferior to the Li clan. Li Daimeng said strongly. If the Wei clan doesn't know what's good for them and protects the boy who beat up Su I'll make them suffer. Su you stay at home and heal yourself. I'll bring people to catch that arrogant boy and let you vent your anger. Li Daimeng said domineeringly. No, I'll go with you. I'll crush all the bones of that little bastard in front of that bitch Wei Xinyue and let them know the consequences of going against me." Li Hongshu gnashed his teeth and said. In his mind, he had already thought of the means to torture Yi Chenfeng. Okay, let's go. Chapter 1799. Li family head, why are you here? When Li Daimeng and her entourage arrived at the Wei family, they immediately alerted the Wei family head, Wei Zhonghai and Wei Penghong. Wei Zhonghai, I don't want to make things difficult for the Wei family. If you know what's good for you, hand over the person who hurt Su Er. Otherwise, don't blame the Li family for not letting you go. Li Daimeng, who was wearing a long black dress, looked at Wei Zhonghai coldly and threatened him. Who hurt Li Hongshu? Looking at Li Daimeng, who seemed to be questioning him, Wei Zhonghai frowned slightly and asked in a low voice. Father, today at the grave auction, young Master Yi and Li Hongshu had a small conflict and injured him. Wei Xinyue slowly walked out from the crowd and said softly, It was young Master Yi. Wei Zhonghai was angry. If it was a Wei family disciple who had a conflict with Li Hongshu, he could still deal with it. However, Yi Chenfeng was not a member of the Wei family. Moreover, Yi Chenfeng's origin was not simple. The Wei family wanted to deepen their relationship with him and would never hand him over to the Li family. Wei Zhonghai, my patience is limited. If you don't hand over young Master Yi today, don't blame me for being rude to the Wei family. Li Daimeng warned coldly. Big brother, I already said that the boy is not a good person. I think it's better to hand him over to prevent the Wei family from being harmed. Wei Penghong persuaded. No, young Master Yi has helped the Wei family. Whether it's right or wrong, I won't hand him over. Wei Zhonghai took a deep breath and said, Big brother, you can't push the Wei family into the fire for an outsider. It's not a wise choice to be enemies with the Li family. Wei Penghong continued to persuade. Don't say any more. I've made up my mind. Wei Zhonghai waved his hand and said, Li Daimeng, young Master Yi, is a distinguished guest of the Wei family. Forgive me for not handing him over to you. Distinguished guest. So, the Wei family is determined to be enemies with the Li family. A strong and cold aura emitted from Li Daimeng's body. This aura was far stronger than Wei Zhonghai and the others. It made many Wei family disciples who were not strong enough feel suffocated. Li Daimeng, the Wei family is not a place for you to behave atrociously. Wei Zhonghai revealed his tyrannical side. He took a step forward and erupted with a heaven-shaking aura. Good. Wei Zhonghai, a loser like you dares to oppose me? Today, I want to see what qualifications you have to provoke me. Li Daimeng's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and her whole body turned into a blur as she attacked Wei Zhonghai at a speed several times faster than normal. With a palm strike, Li Daimeng's fingernails grew at an extremely fast speed, stabbing towards Wei Zhonghai's heart. Great Thunder Palm. Li Daimeng's speed was extremely fast. Wei Zhonghai's body set off a deafening roar, and a mysterious saintly diagram appeared on his body, turning into a powerful thunder palm, blocking Li Daimeng's attack. Rumble. The two of them exchanged a palm strike, and the entire space resounded with a deafening sound of thunder. A large amount of lightning danced wildly in the void like dragons and snakes. Holy art of illusion devil. Li Daimeng's pupil shrank, and her whole body twisted in an irregular shape. The next moment, her plump body split into 3 illusory shadows, attacking Wei Zhonghai from 3 directions. Sky-breaking holy thunder spell. Facing the attack of the 3 illusory shadows, Wei Zhonghai performed the magic skills that had been passed down in the Wei family for countless years. A large amount of lightning spurted out of his body, forming a powerful thunder vortex around him, and swept up the illusory shadows of Li Daimeng. Wei Zhonghai, after so many years, your strength still hasn't improved much. Li Daimeng immediately changed her move when the illusory shadows were broken. The terrible holy art of darkness turned into a dark sword and broke the thunder vortex. With the power to destroy everything, it slashed towards Wei Zhonghai, whose face changed slightly and force him to summon an upper-grade transcendent divine weapon to resist with all his strength. Boom! Facing the attack of Li Dai Meng's dark sword, the transcendent square seal above Wei Zhonghai's head trembled, and the terrible rebounding force was like a different tide, shaking in the void, hitting Wei Zhonghai's body and forcing him to take a few steps back. Wei Zhonghai, you're no match for me. Just admit defeat. Li Dai Meng's red lips curled up slightly, revealing a cold smile as a top-grade transcendent saint axe engraved with profound artifact inscriptions appeared in her hand, and she swung it towards Wei Zhonghai with a momentum that could split the sky. Puff puff. Although Wei Zhonghai controlled the transcendent square seal to resist the attack of the black axe, the power of the black axe was too terrifying. The power of the black axe passed through the square seal and hit Wei Zhonghai's body, and he kept spitting out blood. He almost fell to the ground, and his face was pale. Father, Wei Xingyue's heart tightened when she saw that Wei Zhonghai was no match for the enemy and was continuously retreating while vomiting blood. She immediately ran over and supported his tottering body. She took out a clean handkerchief and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Wei Penghong, who was watching by the side, showed a gloating expression. Wei Zhonghai, my patience is limited. I will ask you again, will you hand over the boy named Yi? The supreme-grade, transcendent divine weapon black axe floated above Li Dai Meng's head, like a proud dark empress, and looked at Wei Zhonghai, who was seriously injured, and said coldly, Master Yi is my Wei family's distinguished guest. I will not hand him over to you. Wei Zhonghai said firmly. Well, in this case, don't blame me for killing in your Wei family, Li Dai Meng said with a murderous look. As soon as she finished speaking, the space above her suddenly twisted, and 3 dark golden fist radiances, full of terrible power, with an unparalleled sense of oppression, bombarded her. Feeling the terrible power of these 3 punches, Li Dai Meng's face changed slightly, and immediately controlled the supreme-grade, transcendent divine weapon black axe to meet the attack. Boom, boom, boom. 3 deafening explosions rang out. The black axe met the 3 dark golden fist radiances head-on, and was shaken and retreated, and the terrible axe radiance was also shattered by the 3 punches. Li Dai Meng, my Wei family is not a place for you to behave atrociously. If you don't leave, don't blame I for not being polite to you. Hearing the noise outside, Wei Sherdong came out of seclusion and walked over step by step in the chaotic void, and warned sternly. Wei Sherdong, feeling the power of the 3 punches just now, Li Dai Meng frowned slightly. She felt that the 3 punches just now were extremely powerful and brought a lot of threat to her. She couldn't help but think highly of the mainstay of the Wei family, Wei Sherdong. I have no intention to be enemies with your Wei family, but I have to avenge my son. If your Wei family does not hand over the murderer, my Li family can only fight to the death with you, Li Dai Meng said rudely and unreasonably. Li Dai Meng, do you really think that my Wei family is afraid of you? Wei Sherdong snorted coldly and said, if you want to fight to the death, my Wei family will accompany you. Well, I hope that when the people of the Devil Palace come, your Wei family will still be so confident. After that, Li Dai Meng, who had some scruples, did not attack again. She suppressed the anger in her heart and was about to leave with the masters of the Li family. Chapter 1800. Mother, it's this little bastard. He's the one who hurt me. Li Hongxiu didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to appear at the last moment. He pointed at him with a ferocious expression and shouted, There's a road to heaven, but you don't want to take it. There's no door to hell, but you barge in. Since you're here, I'll take your life. Li Dai Meng's eyes were filled with murderous intent. She locked onto Yi Qinfeng and was about to hit him and break his limbs. Stop. Young Master Yi is my Wei family's distinguished guest. If you want to fight, I will take it. Wei Sherdong didn't expect Yi Qinfeng to appear, but he knew Yi Qinfeng's value. He was afraid of accidents and immediately stood in front of Yi Qinfeng. Wei Sherdong, do you really want the Demon Palace to destroy your Wei family? Li Dai Meng looked at Wei Sherdong, who stood in front of her, and gritted her teeth. If Wei Shitong insisted on protecting Yi Qianfeng, it would be difficult for her to capture Yi Qianfeng. He has lived for more than 100,000 years. He's not someone you can scare with just a few words. Wei Shitong said firmly. Fine, fine, fine. Wei Shitong, just you wait. I will definitely get my revenge. Looking at Wei Shitong's attitude, Li Daiming knew that she couldn't do anything to Yi Qianfeng, so she left these words and was about to leave. Just as Li Daiming was about to leave, Yi Qianfeng suddenly stopped them and said lightly, "This matter has nothing to do with the Wei family. I was the one who hit him. If you want revenge, come at me." Young Master Yi. Wei Shitong was anxious. Old Wei, I will remember the Wei clan's kindness. However, this matter started because of me, so let me deal with it. Yi Qianfeng interrupted Wei Shitong's words and said calmly, "Little bastard, today my Li family will make you beg for death." Although Yi Qianfeng was very strong, Li Hongxiu did not believe that he was stronger than his mother, so he said with a malevolent expression, "Really?" Yi Qianfeng's eyes flashed with killing intent. A red light flew out of his sea of soul and slashed towards Li Hongxiu at an extremely fast speed. Saint Level Sword Soul. Looking at the red sword light heading towards Li Hongxiu, Li Daiming's expression changed slightly. She immediately controlled the black axe to meet the attack. While she was using the black axe to block the Saint Level Sword Soul's attack, she was completely enraged. She saw Yi Qianfeng suddenly appear in front of Li Hongxiu, who was seriously injured, like a ghost. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed Li Hongxiu's neck, lifting him into the air. "Little bastard, quickly release Su-er. Otherwise, I'll exterminate your entire clan." Seeing that Li Hongxiu's life was in danger, Li Daiming was furious and warned in a gloomy voice, "You can't scare me." As he spoke, Yi Qianfeng slightly exerted force in his right hand. Under Li Hongxiu's horrified gaze, he crushed his throat, exploded his head, and minced his soul, killing him on the spot. Li Daiming only had one son, Li Hongxiu. Seeing the scene of Yi Qianfeng exploding his head, Li Daiming fell into madness. Her ferocious eyes turned blood red. She attacked Yi Qianfeng crazily. Wei Shitong, Wei Zhonghai, and the others were even more shocked by the scene in front of them. They didn't expect Yi Qianfeng to be so bold as to kill Li Daiming's only son in front of everyone. Get lost! Yi Qianfeng took a step forward, and the power of more than 100 billion Jin exploded. He punched out, and the space in front of him trembled violently. The terrifying fist light shook the space, and broke Li Daiming's attack as easily as breaking rotten wood, and sent her flying with a punch. "Father, what should we do now?" "Young master, Yi killed Li Hongxiu in front of everyone. It means that he has made a deadly enemy of the Li family." Wei Zhonghai frowned tightly and said worriedly. He felt that the situation was completely out of control. In order to avenge Li Hongxiu, Li Daiming was very likely to go to extremes. "Hey, I don't think young Master Yi is a reckless person. He dared to kill Li Hongxiu, so he doesn't put the Li family in his eyes. Let's wait and see." Wei Shitong also didn't expect the situation to develop to this point. He felt that Yi Qianfeng was a little reckless. Phantom Demon Divine Art. Li Daiming suppressed the raging blood in her body, and in the blink of an eye, 8 afterimages appeared, blocking all his escape routes and attacking him at the same time. When Li Daiming's 8 shadows attacked, the black axe floating above her head also chopped down with a shocking force. She wanted to seriously injure Yi Qianfeng in one fell swoop. Infinite Chaos. Li Daiming launched her ultimate attack, but Yi Qianfeng showed a look of disdain. The towering chaotic divine would appear around his body, swaying gently in the air, releasing the chaotic 5 elements light, directly destroying the 8 afterimages that were close to him. The next moment, Yi Qianfeng turned his hand into a sword and chopped down. The chaotic divine would instantly turn into a shocking sword radiance, which cut through layers of space. Under Li Daiming's horrified gaze, the black axe, which was a supreme grade heaven-reaching holy weapon, was chopped away, and the sword was chopped towards her. Puff! A large amount of blood spurted out from Li Daiming's mouth. Her whole body was chopped away by Yi Chenfeng's sword. She heavily hit a hard rockery, and the rockery was smashed into pieces. She fell to the ground softly. Family head, seeing the scene in front of them. The masters of the Li family who came with Li Daimeng were stunned by Yi Chenfeng's strength. They quickly came to Li Daimeng, who was seriously injured, and helped her up with a shocking sword scar on her chest. Good, little bastard, you have guts. I will definitely avenge you. Li Daimeng did not expect Yi Chenfeng's strength to be so terrifying. She was not his opponent at all, but Li Hongxiu was her only son. She had to avenge her son. She left behind a ruthless sentence and was ready to leave. Did I say you can leave? Yi Chenfeng's body flashed slightly and blocked Li Daimeng and the others at the gate of the Wei family, and said with a murderous look, "What? Do you want to kill us all?" Looking at Yi Chenfeng, who blocked them, Li Daimeng's face changed slightly, and she said angrily, "Just a few pieces of trash. I could just kill them." Yi Chenfeng smiled coldly and said overbearingly, "You." Li Daimeng was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. But when she sensed the murderous look in Yi Chenfeng's eyes, she had a feeling that Yi Chenfeng was not trying to scare her. Maybe he really dared to kill her. Surnamed Yi, you have to think clearly. Behind my Li family is the Devil Palace. If you kill us, you and the Wei family will have to wait for the revenge of the Devil Palace. Li Daimeng warned coldly, but her tone was weaker. Devil Palace? I have never heard of it. Yi Chenfeng shook his head and said, "You?" Li Daimeng was mad with anger. She looked at Wei Shitong, who was in a dilemma, and said, "Old Master Wei, is your Wei family really going to be the enemy of the Devil Palace? You have to know that the master of the Devil Palace is a half-ancestor, and I am his woman. Hey, young Master Yi, can you give this old man some face and let them go?" Yi Chenfeng could ignore the Devil Palace, but he did not dare to offend the Wei family. Thinking of the horror of the Devil Palace, Wei Shitong sighed helplessly in his heart. "Well, I will give old Master Wei some face. You guys get lost." Chapter 1801. Young Master Yi, today's matter is really big. Li Hongxiu is Li Daimeng's favorite. Now that you have killed him, Li Daimeng will never let this matter rest. Seeing Li Daimeng and others leave in anger, Wei Shitong sighed softly. "Don't worry, old Wei. I will take responsibility for my own actions. This matter is caused by me. I will solve it and will not implicate the Wei family." Yi Chenfeng smiled and said indifferently, It's easy for you to say. Do you know how terrifying the Demon Palace is? If the Demon Palace wants to take revenge on my Wei family, I'm afraid my Wei family will never have a day of peace." Wei Penghong snorted coldly. "Are you accusing me?" Yi Chenfeng's pupil shrank, looked at Wei Penghong, and warned coldly. "I am friends with old Wei, Wei family head, and Xianyu, but I am not friends with you. If you offend me again, don't blame me for being ruthless." What? You don't believe me?" Yi Chenfeng sneered and said, "I dare to break Li Hongxiu's neck in front of the Li family. You tell me if I dare to break your neck or not." Penghong, young Master Yi is not someone you can offend. Quickly apologized to young Master Yi. Wei Shitong saw Yi Chenfeng's lawlessness and was afraid that Yi Chenfeng would really kill Wei Penghong, so he gave an irresistible order. Young Master Yi, I'm just worried about the Wei family. I didn't mean to offend you. Please forgive me." Thinking of the scene where Yi Chenfeng broke Li Hongxiu's neck and beat Li Daimeng, Wei Penghong calmed down and had to swallow his anger and apologize in front of everyone. "I already said that I will deal with this matter. Neither the Li clan nor the demonic palace can threaten your Wei clan." Yi Chenfeng said coldly, "Young Master Yi, although you are strong, the Demon Palace has two half-martial ancestors. You must not be careless when facing them." Wei Shitong reminded seriously. "Half-martial ancestors, it's not a big deal." Yi Chenfeng revealed a disdainful smile. Under the shocked gazes of Wei Shitong and the others, he turned and left. "Investigate. I want to know the background of that Yi guy." Li Daimeng had never suffered such a big loss. She secretly swore that even if she had to sacrifice everything, she would kill Yi Chenfeng to avenge Li Hongxiu. Yes, patriarch. Looking at Li Daimeng's blood-red eyes, the Li family's master's heart trembled. Li Daimeng, who left the Wei family in embarrassment, did not return to the Li family. Instead, she left the Aeon City and flew to the territory of the Demon Clan. She sought help from the Demon Palace at the edge of the Demon Clan. The Demon God Palace was a first-rate power of the demon race. There were two half-martial ancestor experts in the palace. Among them, the current palace master of the Demon God Palace, Missouri Ming, was Li Daimeng's lover. As for Li Hongxiu, who was killed by Yi Chenfeng, he was their son. The reason why the Li family was able to suppress the Wei family and become the second family in Aeon City was because of the Demon Divine Palace. Fa Ming, Su'er, is dead. You must avenge him. Li Daimeng came to the Demon Palace from afar and immediately found the Demon King who was in seclusion. She threw herself into his arms and cried loudly. What, Su'er is dead? Although Mo Ming did not know that Li Hongxiu had a son, Li Hongxiu's talent was not bad, and he was deeply fond of him. Now that he heard the news of Li Hongxiu's death, Mo Ming was furious. Who is so bold to even dare to kill my son? It's a boy with the surname Yi. He killed Su'er in front of me. Li Daimeng cried while adding oil and vinegar to her story. She provoked the anger in Mo Ming's heart little by little. You mean the Wei family has been protecting that boy? Hearing Li Daimeng's crying, Mo Ming's face became more and more gloomy. Yes, if it weren't for the Wei family, my Li family would not have suffered such a big loss. Li Daimeng was not only not grateful to Wei Shitong for helping her out, but also indirectly reprimanded Wei Shitong. She wanted to borrow the Demon God Palace's hand to destroy the Wei family. Wait, you said that Wei Shitong's injuries have not only healed, but his strength has also improved? Mo Ming frowned and said, Yes, I have fought with that old man Wei Shitong before. I can be 100% sure that his injuries have healed. Li Daimeng nodded and said, This shouldn't be. Even if Wei Shitong got rid of the demon goo, he shouldn't have healed so quickly. Could it be that there's a master behind the Wei family? Mo Ming fell into deep thought. He was the one behind the scenes who pushed the Wei family bit by bit. Mo Ming, no matter what, Su'er is your son, your flesh and blood. You can't not avenge him. Looking at Mo Ming, who was in deep thought, Li Daimeng gently shook his arm and begged bitterly. Don't worry, I will avenge Su'er. I will let that little bastard slowly die in despair. Mo Ming gently hugged Li Daimeng's soft and plump body and promised. Mo Ming, are you free now? Let's go get revenge now. Li Daimeng snuggled in Mo Ming's arms and whispered, No rush. I will first investigate the Wei family and see if they have any connections with other forces. Mo Ming shook his head and said cautiously, Don't worry, Mo Ming. Every move of the Wei family is under the surveillance of my Li family. I can guarantee that the Wei family has not connected with any powerful forces. Li Daimeng said with certainty. No matter what, it's better to investigate. Although the demonic palace was a first-rate power in the demon race, there were too many experts in the Void God realm. There were many experts who had the strength to kill the demonic palace. Just to be safe, he decided to investigate Yi Chenfeng and the Wei family first before taking revenge. All right then, I will listen to you. Li Daimeng nodded and had to suppress the killing intent in her heart. In order to persuade Mo Ming to take revenge as soon as possible, Li Daimeng stayed in the demon palace. Although she had just lost her son, she didn't dare to refuse Mo Ming's request. She could only endure the grief in her heart and gently serve him, making him feel good. Immortal. About 5 days later, the informants Mo Ming sent to Aeon City returned. Damn, that kid with the surname Yi seems to be a rogue cultivator. The Wei family has not connected with any super forces. Hearing the news, Mo Ming's eyes turned vicious. Wei Shitong, I have no excuse to deal with your Wei family. You asked for it this time. Let's go get dressed. We will go to Aeon City to avenge Su'er. Mo Ming looked at Li Daimeng, whose skin was like a young girl's and had a layer of pink light, exuding a mature charm, and said coldly, All right, I will skin that little bastard with my own hands to avenge Su'er. Li Daimeng gritted her teeth and swore. Just as Mo Ming was counting the masters and preparing to go to Aeon City for revenge, the Demon Palace was suddenly attacked. The Demon Palace, which had been there for millions of years, collapsed, and the entire Demon Palace was shaken. After hearing the news of the Demon God Palace's entrance being destroyed, the Magic God Palace's reputation exploded. He immediately brought the Demon God Palace's experts to the entrance, wanting to know who had eaten the bear's heart and leopard's gall to dare destroy the Demon God Palace's entrance. It's him,